is that Ukraine is also, tied up in the Donbass, and it is taking shelling daily in Kharkiv, so it's not an easy task.
Police in Sri Lanka say the presidential office is opening back up again today after Friday's violent crackdown against demonstrators camped outside the building. Anti-government protesters vowed to continue taking to the streets and are calling for the resignation of President Ranil Wickremesinghe, even though he was only sworn in on Thursday. In a statement on Sunday, the new president said non-violent protests could go ahead. Rebecca Bundan reports from Colombo on why some people are unhappy with their new president.
We have to remember that Ranil Wickremesinghe, who was the Prime Minister of Sri Lanka, wasn't voted into power as president by the people. This was a vote that took place in Parliament. After the previous president, Gotabaya Rajapaksa, fled the country this month, with people blaming him for the severe economic mess the country is in. Many people consider Ranil Wickremesinghe to be a Rajapaksa ally. Some people say they want to give the new administration a chance, though, to address the economic challenges. What's led to further upset among the protesters, though, is that some of them were forcibly removed from their camp near the presidential office in the early hours of Friday morning by armed troops and police. Some protesters were arrested and some say that they were injured.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks, looking in more depth today at the Pope's tour of Canada. It's the first papal visit to the country for 2 decades, but it's tinged with anguish. The Vatican describes it as a pilgrimage of penance, an effort by the pontiff to heal wrongs done to the indigenous people of Canada by Catholic priests and nuns in church-run schools between 1831 and 1996. Bob McMahon with the Council on Foreign Relations.
What occurred in Canada was something that happened elsewhere in North America, in parts of the United States as well, with different permutations. In Canada, it was actually a federal effort of formally culturally assimilating Indigenous people and using a partner, in this case, the Catholic Church in many instances, and to assimilate, convert Indigenous children to Christianity. Something like 150,000 children were taken from their homes as part of this process over those years. And it was a wrenching experience. It involved not only the division of families, it involved physical and sexual abuse and really devastated lives.
Pope Francis in April apologised to survivors and their families, conceding that the church-run residential schools had engaged in deplorable abuse. There is a truth and reconciliation process underway in Canada, and the Pope is expected to unveil concrete steps the Catholic Church will take to contribute to it. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
The main headlines again. Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov has begun a tour of Africa to boost cooperation with the continent amid global food shortages sparked by the war in Ukraine. Ukraine's president says his country's military is making inroads in Kherson, the southern region currently under Russian control. And police in Sri Lanka say the presidential office is opening back up again today after Friday's violent crackdown against demonstrators camped outside the building. And that is the latest from Feature Story News. I'm Jagruti Dave in Washington.
The FBI has successfully executed a raid on the Visa Corporation, exposing what could be the largest credit card scam in U.S. history. According to authorities, the Visa syndicate for years fooled millions of Americans by issuing convincing-looking credit cards carefully designed to dupe consumers into spending far more money than they had. Investigators believe the fraudulent corporation also lured victims in with enticing rewards programs and free gifts, thereby trapping them in a spiral of debt they could never hope to repay. According to the results of a groundbreaking new study, 96% of humans would rather be a singing, dancing animatronic bear. The study finds that a great majority of people on the planet would prefer to trade in their regular lives for one in which they sat on a plastic log, strummed a banjo, and sang songs on a stage with all their goofy bear friends. Respondents also stated that not being a sentient human being with feelings of doubt, sadness, and pain contributed to the decision.
This is the Onion News Network. Free Talk Live.
And we're back. Oh my gosh, what has happened? It's the, I don't want to say normal, I want to say the
classic.
The classic
the
Sunday night
Sunday show
crew. The OGs.
The OG Sunday crew. We haven't had this crew together since what, before the fests?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And we had you the one time after you came back from California, according to Richie Rich. I didn't remember that.
That was before the fest.
I thought
Yeah,
that
it was.
we hadn't had this crew together since before you went to off to the left coast to do your left coasty things. But yeah, so here we are again in the studio. It's myself, the Lord Reverend Dr. Captain Kickass, joining me.
Nikki.
And Richie Rich.
I'm stoked that you guys are here. This is Free Talk Live. The telephone number, if you want to join the conversation tonight, is 603-283-6160. Again, 603-283-6160. Captain's log stardate 07242022. Just to get that out of the way.
Yep. That's how you know it's a Sunday show.
It is Sunday. Before I want to, well, here, I'll tell everybody what we might be talking about.
Uh-oh.
Government has gone too far. Potential topics for tonight. New Jersey hates breweries, microbrews specifically. An activist wants to lead a satanic prayer at a high school football game. Portland lesbian bar has been shut down for not being woke enough.
Should have seen that one coming.
5 ways the Hunger Games have happened in real life. Low-paid virtual cashiers provoke outrage amongst activists. One small step for democracy in a live free or die town. What is the Free State Project? So I have to confess, both of these, the last 2 articles, are from the least favorite publication on planet Earth, the New York Times. So just you have an idea where they're coming from. We also have something about Florida man versus Florida sheriff. We're not sure where that's coming from. Scientists find link between wolf attacks and far-right politics.
Go figure. Have to have something.
Gonorrhea could be the driver of gene mutations. And oddly shaped ice cream treats being sold.
Okay, well, okay.
Well, hang on. We're not revealing the whole thing here. We're not getting into that article just yet.
I hear what you're saying,
Okay.
but I don't want, without bearing the lead, there's more to that gonorrhea headline.
There is, yes.
Okay, and
yes.
you're purposefully...
I am, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
I don't want to, give up the whole show here in the first segment. Yeah, man.
Well, it's the headline.
I'm teasing.
Okay.
I'm teasing for listeners to stick around.
The headline is the tease, though.
It's a 3-hour-long show, and so I think they've got enough, right? Have
Off
we
of
not
that?
teased them
Okay.
enough? I mean...
All right.
Hey, some think it's gross, but it's really good on toast. Gonorrhea. Gonorrhea. Oh, wait, no, that's diarrhea. Sorry. My bad.
So either way, no.
Old childhood song.
No.
Yeah, it's one of the classics.
Is it?
One of the classics from my childhood, anyway.
I don't know where you grew up, but diarrhea does not go with toast.
You're assuming I grew up. Joke's on you.
It all makes sense now.
Where are we going to start? Oh, I was going to say, because it's Sunday, I have taken it upon myself to host a little thing every Monday night to watch this HBO show called The Anarchists.
First 2 episodes done. Watched them.
Yeah?
Yep.
Okay, good, because I know
following
Nikki's
it.
seen them. Sweet.
Okay.
So we can talk about that a little bit if you want.
Yep.
But
Hey, no spoilers, though.
it does air Sunday nights. So Sunday nights after this show is over, 10 p.m. Eastern, is, I believe, when it airs on HBO Max, whatever that is.
As a true anarchist, I wait for it to hit the torrent sites, and I pirate it.
There is a reason why I host my viewing on Mondays instead of Sundays, outside of the fact that I'm here on Sunday nights, right? But, yeah.
So take that, HBO.
So, well, I mean, I don't, if you can afford it, go ahead. And I think you can get a free subscription for like 30 days or something. I don't know.
Or use somebody else's.
Yeah, or piggyback on, there's ways for you to see it. I also know that at some point there were, at least the first episode was up on our favorite streaming platform.
Odyssey?
Yes.
Which means it can never come down.
Well, so I think they did take it down off Odyssey, but it's still
How'd they do that?
It's still on Library.
Okay.
Right?
Is that how?
That's how that works.
Okay.
Yes.
But once it's on
I don't know for a
once
fact.
it's on the blockchain, it's supposed to be a permanent thing as long as people are seeding it.
I haven't tested it,
Right.
so I can't verify. Perhaps if you, a listener out there, have been watching it in this way, you can let us know at 603-283-6160.
Odyssey censors pirated material. That should be the headline.
Well, they do
right
respond to DMCA takedowns. So
how is fair play? How is that any better than YouTube then?
Well, because I believe, don't quote me on this. I mean, if you represent Library in some way and want to correct me on this, feel free to call us. But I believe that the takedown is from Odyssey, but the data still lives on Library.
Okay.
I believe is how that works.
Okay.
Don't quote me on that.
So there's still a non-Odyssey way to access the data if you participate in the library project.
That's my understanding.
Okay.
I wonder how you would go about doing that, though.
You'd have to download the library app and that kind of thing. So, which I have not done. I've only used Odyssey to watch things, kind of like YouTube.
I don't know when library launched, but when they first launched, I created an account. Like, okay, getting this thing done, and didn't use it, didn't do anything with it, and then probably like 6 to 9 months later, my buddy goes, like, dude, you got to check this thing out. It's called Library. I'm like, I'm already on there. There's nobody there yet. He's like, oh, cool. All right. So new technology comes out, man. I create an account, and then I see where it goes.
Yep. And that's the way you got to do it these days. It used to be the new technology would come out slow enough that you could wait for a minute. Or if you were the first and then somebody was like, you're like, yeah, I already know. And then you would teach them. Now, new tech is just, it's coming at us left and right that it's hard to keep up with all of the tech that's coming out, much less which one's going to take off. So you're right. If you just create an account for everything that comes your way, eventually a few of those are going to come in handy.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get started. This from the from brownstone.org, not the Brownstone, but brownstone.org. Governments were given credible warnings about lockdown harms, but didn't listen.
Wow.
You don't say.
Yeah, we've been saying this since, before they even did lockdowns. We're like, just don't do it, and they did it anyway.
I'll take obvious news reports for 100.
Ding, ding, ding. It's the Daily Double. No, it's not. There is a rising awareness of government excess in violating freedoms and liberties. In a global survey of 52,000 people by the Democracy Perceptions Index, I don't know what that is, in 50 of the 53 countries surveyed, people expressed net agreement that government has gone too far in limiting people's freedoms. In case you're wondering what net agreement is, that's agreement minus disagreement.
Okay.
For those of you bad at math, I was told there'd be no math.
So what's the gross agreement statistic then?
It's gross that people don't agree with the statement.
Okay.
In my opinion, anyway. Authorities and lockdown advocates accuse critics of 2020 hindsight and insist they did the best they could with limited information in the midst of a once-in-a-century pandemic.
Oh, my gosh. Give me a break.
Okay. Hold on. There has to be, I want to say there's a small benefit of the doubt there, right? Because unless you're operating with perfect information, everybody goes about their daily life operating on the best information provided to you at that time.
Okay.
The difference is, right, we don't try to control the behaviors of others with limited information, right? Like they knew they were working on limited information because that goes without saying, and then controlling entire populations based on that is where, the line gets crossed.
Yeah, forced conformity is never the answer for anything. And in fact, I would argue that the largest benefit would have been to let people go about handling this all themselves in the best way they saw fit individually.
Right.
And guess what? The best possible application would have surfaced.
Well, clearly they wanted there to be mass hysteria. This is all, in my opinion, planned. No doubt about it.
Well, it's certainly, even if it wasn't, they certainly know how to not let a good crisis go to waste.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
They've been through this many times, and they're absolutely 100% lying if they say, oh, well, we did the best we could with the limited information in this once-in-a-century pandemic. No, I'm sorry. That's not true. You could go back and look at, many things that have occurred in history and the actions that were taken. Just go back and look at, SARS. Remember that?
Yeah.
Remember SARS?
Well, if there were
happened.
dead bodies in the street, bring out your dead, right? I probably would have self-isolated. Probably would have stayed in the house and went, wow, I don't want to die.
Yeah.
But everything pointed to this isn't so bad and I'm healthy and young enough to get away with it. And so I acted accordingly.
As well you should. And
right.
So am I. 603-283-6160. Are you in net agreement that government has gone too far?
Gross agreement.
Give us a call. More Free Talk Live is coming up.
Do you feel like your nation, state, or community no longer holds your values? Have you dreamt of a place where people agree that liberty is important and are free to pursue their projects so long as they respect the property of others? There are many people just like you that are discovering freeprivatecities.com. Their social media links are at the upper right of the page at freeprivatecities.com. All skill levels will be needed when the first of the Free Private Cities opens. It's sooner than you think. Stop arguing and build. freeprivatecities.com. There are basically two types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
When Monster Hunter International discovers one of Isaac Newton's wardstones being auctioned off, they decide to steal it and use it to destroy the Chaos God once and for all. But a mysterious thief upends their plan, and it soon becomes a race against time as something much older and infinitely more evil awakens in the jungles of South America. Monster Hunter Bloodlines by New York Times bestselling author Larry Correia and Baen Books. Visit monsterhunternation.com for more.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
Our Matrix server is about as free as internet chat can be. Join the existing rooms or create your own at chat.freetalklive.com.
And we're back! Yes, it is Free Talk Live. If you couldn't tell by our zealous and joyous intro. Enthusiasm. It is Sunday. And we do things a little bit different here on Free Talk Live on Sunday nights. We were talking about this bit from brownstone.org, also known as the Brownstone Institute, about 50 in 53 countries, people expressed net agreement that government has gone too far in limiting people's freedoms. So there's only like a couple hundred governments on planet Earth. Now, they happen to claim all of the land on planet Earth, but 50 of the 53 surveyed were like, yep, government has gone too far. So I feel like, hey, we're not the only ones. You know, we talk about that often here on Free Talk Live.
Well, that's one of the freedoms, the benefits about being in the United States. despite how bad it is.
Is that we still have some freedom of speech?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can at least say when it's bad.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, I feel like Free Talk Live, the radio program that you're listening to right now, is a bit of a, what do they call it? Canary in the coal mine?
Okay.
So when Free Talk Live ceases to broadcast, that might mean something. That might mean that freedom of speech has actually ended here in the United States of America. It's already, like, I can't say whatever I want on this program. It's regulated.
Yes.
And so, like, I can't cuss. I can't use certain descriptive terms. There's certain topics that we've come to find out are taboo.
Yep.
And so, while we're still much freer than everywhere else, we are still regulated. We are still unable to actually have free speech on this program.
And again, fair play. That's because we've chosen terrestrial radio as the preferred medium.
Sure.
Right. We can do an internet show. We can do a podcast,
which we do. I mean, Free Talk Live is also a podcast and
Understood.
an internet stream.
But if you did that and
for
Went,
right? Yeah.
The radio side of things, you would remove all of those restrictions
that
we currently find yourself.
I
So
mean,
there is the freedom to do those things.
I think it's a good trade-off. I think it's the most important thing is to reach as many ears as we possibly can,
Yes.
and not cussing and not being able to say certain words isn't really that big of a deal. It's still lame.
Yes.
Don't get me wrong, it's still lame, but it's a pretty good trade-off.
It is. And also,
that's also how you keep people on Facebook and YouTube, though, because that's where the audience is.
Yeah.
But also, Free Talk Live started as a radio program.
Understood.
Free Talk Live predates podcasts.
Right.
So it had to start somewhere. And so this is just where we are now.
I get it. But the freedom still exists if you choose your medium differently.
For now.
Right.
Yeah.
Like not being able to cuss, right, is a voluntary choice because we're playing in the FCC's field.
Damn it.
Okay.
See, because that's the closest I can get. So I just wanted to get a damn it in there. I'll get a hell in there while I'm at it.
Oh, my goodness.
Hell, damn it.
Getting crazy over there.
Yeah, I know.
You're going to upset the
man.
Christians.
It wouldn't be the first time. This from Reason.com. No segue. New Jersey cracks down on breweries for hosting trivia nights and serving food. How dare they?
Stole her
Exactly
line.
what I was going to say. How dare they?
What could New Jersey possibly have against breweries hosting trivia nights and serving food?
It's a violation.
Regulations ban food sales, limit the number of events, and include other inane requirements. I'll give you the TLDR on this without getting into it. Basically, in New Jersey, they have one version of the liquor license that is for your actual, like, full-on booze-serving establishments, hard liquor.
Yep.
And they can serve beer and wine, too, with that license. I think it's all-encompassing. And they can also be restaurants and serve food and have trivia nights and have bands and, all the fun stuff that you associate with an alcohol purveyor. So what has happened is, microbrews have gotten popular. This craft brewing thing has sort of hit New Jersey, and a bunch of craft breweries and microbrews and brew pubs have popped up. And in order to compete with the bars with the full liquor license, they've been having to innovate themselves.
Well, it's to get around the regulations.
And go, how can we attract more customers? And they decided that they were also going to serve food and that they were also going to host trivia nights, because you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You just have to look at what wheels are turning and, maybe we'll do some of that and figure out what works for us. So they started doing that. And the actual full liquor license serving establishments, instead of going, hey guys, we got to get together and figure out how to step up our game because these guys are taking our customers and, we're not seeing as much business as we used to. Instead of them getting together and innovating, coming up with new and unique ways to drive customers to their establishments, what do?
Call in the state.
Call in the state. Hey, daddy government, the breweries are taking our customers because they're doing the things that we were doing, and it's not fair. Force them out of business.
They don't have the license to do those things.
I'm sorry, sir. You can't do that without a license.
It's weird, too, because I skimmed that article at one point, and there's something about, like, holding special events only once a week.
Oh, yeah.
Or having parties
just
once
makes no
a month.
Sense.
You're right.
Like, why does it matter?
Breweries are restricted to hosting 52 private parties per year, such as birthday parties or corporate events. New Jersey ABC makes it clear that it will allow patrons attending a private party to bring their own beer and wine to the events. Why a brewery would want to host a party where someone else's beer is served goes unexplained. All events, whether or not they are a special event or a private party, must manually be entered into the DABC website at least 10 days in advance.
So no surprise parties.
Yeah.
Got to be public information.
Let's see what other crap they said they have. If an event is not promoted or advertised, it apparently does not count against the 25 event cap, although it's unclear why a brewery would bother hosting weekly trivia if it can't tell its customer base when to show up.
I wonder what their explanation for this is. Like, they would need to, I guess they don't need to do anything, but they're not going to give a reason why they're putting a cap on the limit of what kinds of parties and events breweries can host.
It's Jersey, number one, so it's petty government, number two, and it's just, how can we exercise more control on this new industry? And then, boom, they give themselves the power to do so. Do they need to justify it? No, because they got the guns.
Of course not, but it's still...
It's dumb.
It's just blatant overreach.
Restricting such events puts a damper on potential on-premise taproom sales, undermining the brewery's ability to act as a community hub and gathering place. The event cap also disproportionately punishes the most vulnerable members of the state's brewing community, since many small microbreweries and nanobreweries exclusively sell beer from their on-premise taprooms, eschewing distribution to stores or bars altogether.
That's the whole point.
Yeah. So,
like, you show up to the restaurant on the microbrew site to drink that brewery's beer and their wares.
Yeah, so
right, that's why you go there.
So, dear New Jersey bars, the ones that sell hard liquor, grow some testicles, be a man, and compete, innovate, right? Level up. Don't go crying to daddy and pointing guns at these other guys just because they're out competing you with their delicious beverages.
Now again, to be fair, at least New Jersey has bars.
That's true. New Hampshire pretends they don't have bars by making them all restaurants. 603-283-6160. Do you prefer a bar? Or do you prefer a microbrew? More Free Talk Live is coming up.
Free Talk Live's video archives have been on LBRY for years. LBRY is an uncensorable, decentralized, blockchain-based media sharing protocol, and we're big fans of it here on Free Talk Live. In 2020, LBRY launched Odysee, a video sharing website to compete with YouTube, and it's really taking off. Now with over 1 million channels, many of whom are disaffected YouTube creators. During YouTube's crackdown for not towing the government line on COVID, the Free Talk Live YouTube channel started receiving strikes and could be completely taken down at any moment. Thankfully, Odysee started offering live streaming, so we're now streaming live every night and posting our video archives permanently to Odysee. You can watch live or anytime on our Odysee channel by visiting video.freetalklive.com. If you want to go all in, download the desktop app at lbry.com, and then every video archive you watch, you'll help seed and keep it online forever. At minimum, we ask you visit video.freetalklive.com and follow us on Odysee today. video.freetalklive.com.
From Feature Story News in Washington, I'm Jagruti Dave. Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov has begun a tour of Africa to boost cooperation with the continent amid global food shortages sparked by the war in Ukraine and Western sanctions. Isaac Lucando reports.
Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov is in Cairo for talks with Egyptian officials as his country seeks to break diplomatic isolation and sanctions by the West over its invasion of Ukraine. According to the Russian Foreign Ministry, Lavrov's 4-day African tour will see him also visit Ethiopia, Uganda and the Democratic Republic of Congo. African countries are among the most affected by the ripples of the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Prices of vital commodities have skyrocketed and billions of dollars in aid have been directed to help those who fled the war in Europe. That has left millions of people in conflict areas in Africa and the Middle East suffering from the worsening growing shortages in food and other assistance. However, Russia, through its foreign ministry, rejects the West's accusations that it is responsible for the global food crisis. Isaac Lucando, Dar es Salaam.
Meanwhile, Ukraine's president says his country's military is making inroads in Kherson, the southern region currently under Russian control. Sergio Olmos reports from Kyiv.
It's a major city, and it was taken very quickly by the Russian armed forces. What Ukraine is trying to do is trying to counterattack and take back Kherson. They have now fired on a bridge in Kherson that's vital for the Russian forces for their logistics. They've been using these HIMARS weapons, the medium-range rockets that the U.S. and Britain sent. That's really been forcing the Russian armed forces to rethink their strategy and push back their logistics from the front line. What we're seeing is that Ukraine is also, tied up in the Donbass, and it is taking shelling daily in Kharkiv, so it's not an easy task.
Police in Sri Lanka say the presidential office is opening back up again today after Friday's violent crackdown against demonstrators camped outside the building. Anti-government protesters vowed to continue taking to the streets and are calling for the resignation of President Ranil Wickremesinghe, even though he was only sworn in on Thursday. In a statement on Sunday, the new president said non-violent protests could go ahead. Rebecca Bundan reports from Colombo on why some people are unhappy with their new president.
We have to remember that Ranil Wickremesinghe, who was the Prime Minister of Sri Lanka, wasn't voted into power as president by the people. This was a vote that took place in Parliament. After the previous president, Gotabaya Rajapaksa, fled the country this month, with people blaming him for the severe economic mess the country is in. Many people consider Ranil Wickremesinghe to be a Rajapaksa ally. Some people say they want to give the new administration a chance, though, to address the economic challenges. What's led to further upset among the protesters, though, is that some of them were forcibly removed from their camp near the presidential office in the early hours of Friday morning by armed troops and police. Some protesters were arrested and some say that they were injured.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
You can stick it to the man and big tech. Join our FTL social mastodon at social.freetalklive.com.
And we're back.
We are back, aren't we?
That was the pre-point to make sure you were on board doing it.
I wonder if people watching...
Don't point too soon, man. Don't point too soon.
I wonder if people watching over at video.freetalklive.com saw Nikki go, but say nothing, right? Anyway, it is Free Talk Live.
It was a test run.
The telephone number here is 603-283-6160 if you would like to pipe in and join us in the conversation. In the studio, it's myself, the captain.
It's Nikki.
And Richie Rich.
Free Talk Live's video archives have been over on LBRY for years. LBRY is an uncensorable, decentralized, blockchain-based media sharing protocol, and we're big fans of that here on Free Talk Live. In 2020, LBRY launched Odysee, a video sharing website to compete with YouTube, and it's really taking off now with over 1 million channels, many of whom are disaffected YouTube creators. During YouTube's crackdown for not towing the government line on all things COVID, the Free Talk Live YouTube channel started receiving strikes and could be completely taken down at any moment. Thankfully, Odysee started offering live streaming, so we're now streaming live every night and posting our video archives permanently to Odysee. You can watch live or anytime on our Odysee channel by visiting video.freetalklive.com. If you'd like to go all in, download the desktop app over at lbry.com, and then every video archive you watch, you'll help seed and keep it online forever.
Unless it's a DMCA takedown notice.
Well, no, that's for Odysee, not LBRY. Yeah. So I don't, I'll have to go try this in my spare time, which I have so much of now. Anyway, visit video.freetalklive.com. Follow us on Odysee today. That's video.freetalklive.com. All right. What is the Free State Project?
Great question.
I wonder, we talk about it here on this show.
Let's go to the authoritative source on the matter.
the True Dork Times, also known as the New York Times. This is one of my least favorite publications. I believe the sentiment is shared amongst...
For unbiased reporting about the Free State Project.
That's not what we're going to get here. I'm just guessing. I haven't actually read this, but...
I think it's great advertisement.
Today's newsletter is a guest dispatch from Don Barry. Never trust a man with two first names, Don Barry, who wrote in the New York Times Sunday about how the surprise victory of a hardcore libertarian movement in a small New Hampshire town led to a swift backlash and a harsh lesson in the importance of showing up to vote. Here, Dan explains the group behind the clash.
Oh, is this the Croydon thing?
Dun, dun, dun.
Or is that the next article?
Well, let's see.
Okay.
For nearly 2 decades now and without much national attention, restless libertarians. Are we restless libertarians? I guess.
I think they mean we're not lazy and we actually get things done.
My preferred adjectives are handsome and wealthy.
For nearly 2 decades now, and without much national attention, handsome and wealthy libertarians everywhere have been relocating to New Hampshire. They are drawn less by the spectacular fall foliage than by a literal interpretation of the state motto, more often stamped on license plates than uttered in conversation: live free or die.
I don't know. I say it all the time in conversation. I don't know what they're talking about.
I love uttering that in conversation to natives. When they start getting all status. Like, isn't this the live free or die state?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, have you read your license plate lately?
Yeah.
You would think the brainwashing would be strong and that people would read that and be, yeah, live free or die, man.
This is your state motto. You should be the one upholding its values.
You've been reading it hundreds, if not thousands of times a day on every car that passes you by.
They could just move to Massachusetts.
Stamped on the status license plate.
The opposite of the Free State Project, which is the Progressive State Project.
Yeah, it's progressive relocation.
Yeah, it's to help those who don't agree with New Hampshire being a live free or die state to relocate themselves elsewhere.
I thought there used to be one called the Free Lunch Project. Similar idea.
Yeah, I believe there are multiple similar projects all happening simultaneously.
To get rid of those people.
Well, to assist them in achieving their goals in life.
Go where you get the state you deserve.
Much of the Free State Project migration has been driven by a nonprofit organization called the Free State Project. Its adherents believe that by moving en masse to a small state within an inordinately large legislature, people... All right, anyway. 400 representatives and 24 senators for 1.38 million people. They can affect change to their liking. That is, limited government, self-reliance, limited government. They wrote it twice.
It's so funny because they're always like, well, if you don't like it, why don't you vote? If you don't like it, why don't you run for office? And that's what we're doing, and now they're mad about it.
Yeah, because you're not supposed to take the advice.
I can't believe these guys have the audacity to vote and to move to a place with a motto like live free or die.
And to change it to make it more free.
Evil.
Well, if you don't like the government, change it from the inside. Okay. Oh, we don't like it when you change it from the inside. That sucks.
It's amazing that it's actually starting to work a little bit here.
It is amazing.
It totally is.
It is amazing. Like, I am not, I said this tonight at our dinner, I do not identify as a libertarian.
Sure.
I identify as a voluntarist. I prefer to identify as an anarchist, but people go, oh, you throw Molotov cocktails? It's like, no.
ANCAP, not ANCOM.
Yeah, I drink cocktails. I don't know what a Molotov is.
ANCAP should throw more Molotov cocktails. at the appropriate people and institutions.
But they would first get permission from their targets before they chuck them, or they would only chuck them in self-defense.
Sure. Pick your targets. That's all I'm saying.
By concentrating our numbers in a single state, we are maximizing our impact as activists, entrepreneurs, community builders, and thought leaders, the group's website says. Free Staters are neighborly, productive folks from all walks of life, all ages, all creeds of colors, who are on a mission to prove that more liberty leads to more prosperity for everyone. After all, who's against liberty?
Hopefully no one, except for the New York Times, clearly.
And a whole bunch of the natives here that want us gone.
Some people from Mass and some Vermonters and Bernie Sanders and, I'm sorry, Bernie Slanders. The L is silent for most people. But it remains an open question whether the movement's interpretation of liberty, emphasizing individual rights over the common good, has gained significant traction. If it didn't gain significant traction, you wouldn't be publishing this frickin' article. Sorry.
Mic drop.
I would not drop this mic. It's like, I think my life is worth less than this microphone. These are pretty sweet mics.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah. It's age. It happens. In 2016, for example, the Free State Project announced with fanfare that 20,000 people had signed a pledge to move to New Hampshire within the next 5 years and help create a society in which the maximum role of government would be nothing. Oh, I'm sorry, no. The maximum role would be to protect individual rights. People supporting guns rights, gay marriage, and fiscal conservatism are welcome. Racists, bigots, and those promoting violence are not.
Well, part of those.
It's not that those people don't show up. It's just that it takes a while for people to sort of out themselves.
I hear what you're saying, and I maintain that racism and bigotry are within the realm of libertarianism because it's voluntary association. And so you may not like those people, but they know who they want to associate with, and they know whom they don't want to associate with this. And that is compatible ideology,
yes,
even if you don't want to accept it.
That is true. And I mean, I guess that's all there is to say about it. That is true. It is compatible. However, it's not like welcomed.
Sure.
Right? We're not going like, hey, all you racists and bigots, come join us here in New Hampshire. I bet you somebody's going to like clip that and take it out of context.
Well, and honestly, I feel like I know a lot of people in the Free State Project. I've met a lot of people that have moved here for liberty, and I don't really know a single person that is racist.
Yeah, I
mean, I do, but they didn't move here for the Free State Project. They just ended up here.
Sure.
6 years later, the group says the number of Free Staters in New Hampshire stands at a little over 6,000. So we got a ways to go to get that 20,000 who signed up actually here. So if you're out there and you signed up for the Free State Project,
they do calling parties to get those people.
Where the hell are you? Get your ass here. We got work to do. 603-283-6160. More Free Talk Live is on the way.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with AgristHosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to AgristHosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's AgristHosting.com.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and our main feed that includes everything. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
When you got your health, I'm Holland Cook with Inflation Hacks. Have you seen the TV commercials for GoodRx? It's a website and app that comparison shops for prescription meds. One catch, it only works if you're paying without insurance. My pal Larry doesn't go to a dentist. He lets university dental students hone their clinical repertoire on him. Yes, it is less expensive, and insurance still covers it. One trade-off he's quick to add: plan on spending the whole morning there because students' work is so closely supervised. Because it's a university, he figures he's getting state-of-the-art care. And when I asked about rookie mistakes, Larry said, the students are gentle. Just don't let the faculty in there. How are you coping? post your inflation hacks at andyoucanquoteme.com.
What if you want to hear the latest episode of Free Talk Live, but all you have is your phone, you forgot to download our archive, and you have no data connection? You can call our Listen line at 641-793-0191. That's a long-distance number, so you may incur charges. If not, listen as long as you want. 641-793-0191. The Free Talk Live Listen line, 641-793-0191.
My name is Jacob Hornberger. I'm president of the Future of Freedom Foundation, which Congressman Ron Paul awarded for having an outstanding freedom website. Write us at fff@fff.org, and we'll send you a free 3-month subscription to our monthly journal of libertarian essays and our booklet, Economic Liberty in the Constitution, which George Mason University economics professor Walter Williams praised in a recent column. That's fff@fff.org.
Don't miss a moment of Free Talk Live. Get our archives daily via our podcast at feeds.freetalklive.com.
And we're back. Did I do it right?
Yeah.
You did
Nice.
great.
Thanks,
It's
man.
like 3 words. You just got to say them in order.
I was unsure if it was 3 or 4 words.
And we are back. No.
We are.
It's a contraction.
We are
You know
back.
contractions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that like a conjunction?
Sure.
Conjunction, junction. What's your function?
We almost had a harmony there. Perhaps one day, Free Talk Live will be good enough to, I don't know, give us singing lessons.
This is a radio show.
603-283-6160 in the studio. It's myself, the captain.
Nikki.
And Rich.
So we were talking about the Free State Project and the fact that the 20,000 signers haven't quite materialized yet. We've got, I don't know, a third of that, according to statistics, which, we don't know. I'm not tracking it. I actually, while the Free State Project may count me in those statistics, I didn't sign up for the Free State Project specifically. I knew that it was here, and I knew that there was what I like to call the larger liberty movement here, so it's not just the Free State Project. But I also knew that there were activists doing all sorts of things here, whether or not they were part of the Free State Project, and I wanted to come and be part of it because I, too, feel like the government has gone too far.
So, whereas I support like the noble ideals of the Free State Project, I am of the opinion that as a project, right, we can objectively say that it has failed.
I mean, I wouldn't go that far.
Well, hear me out. The original goal, like here's what we're going to do, is to get 20,000 people to sign. And then within 5 years of reaching the 20,000 number, those people were supposed to have moved.
Right.
And I totally get your point there. But what I'm thinking is if we did get 20,000 people to move here and they came here and then nothing was really happening, to me, that wouldn't be better than we have 6,000-7,000 people here. But we do have a lot of people that are doing a lot of really good activism.
Sure.
They're getting elected. Sure. They're passing bills. They're making change. So to me, that's the important part.
That might be the important part. But there was a stated goal.
Right. So letter
that
of the
didn't
goal.
happen. Okay.
And it did not happen.
To the letter of the goal. Correct. They did not.
They hit the number in like February of 2016. I went, oh, darn, I've got to move now because I committed to move. I got here in 2018. And then 2021 came and went. Right. And that was the cutoff for reaching the goal as stated initially.
I wonder how many people are here that aren't. Because you have to sign something to say, like, I'm here.
Okay.
I never did
well,
that.
you have to sign up and say, I'm one of the ones who's going to go.
Yeah.
And they reach that number. So I don't know. There are people who have moved since then who likely didn't sign up and pledge to say, I'm going, but they're here anyway for the freedom movement.
Sure.
Yeah.
But if that being said, right, if you're going to trust any of the numbers, you have to go with like the official numbers from the Free State Project and objectively. They have not reached those numbers in the stated time frame that they were supposed to.
Correct. Yes. The one thing that they said, hey, we're going to set out and do this, they did not accomplish. It's
Right.
true.
The one thing.
Yeah.
Right now is, again, the goal's noble. Right. Should people still move here? Sure. Should activists come and help out? Absolutely.
Yes. And also the Free State Project still exists as an organization. So I'm hoping they will, set some other goals now, whatever that or they may be.
Maybe reachable goals this time.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm trying to remember. I think it was Mark Edge that said the mistake the Free State Project made was reaching or deciding where to move before reaching the amount of signers.
Okay.
Right. He thinks, and he made a pretty good argument for it. I can't remember the details, but he thinks that if they'd have said, hey, let's get 20,000 freedom-loving people together to sign and pledge to move somewhere where there's the most freedom, and then once they reach that number, decide on the state and then move to New Hampshire.
They sort of did that because they did the vote after 5,000 people signed.
Right, but that's what he's saying is that they should not have done the vote at 5,000. They should have waited till 20,000 to do the vote.
I don't know.
And then all
them
people would move en masse at one time.
But they
and
didn't even
get
get that original 5,000 to move.
Well, they got over 6,000 so.
Now, but that vote happened like 15 years ago.
Yeah. So
yeah,
I'm just saying that he made a pretty good argument for why they should have done it differently, because once they decided on the state, a bunch of people who signed up were like, oh, well, maybe I don't want to go.
But I just don't see how that would have helped, though. I think
it would
if
have been
you're
worse
hey,
if you waited to 20,000.
It's like, okay,
it's
we're
about
going
building
to this.
momentum, though.
Yeah, I guess so. But
they lost the momentum after they took the vote.
So if people were like,
I hear what you're saying.
I'm signing up for this thing, but I don't even know where I'm moving. To me, it makes more sense to be like, we picked.
Then
this
those
state.
last 15,000 know where they got to go.
Yeah, they know where they're going.
right.
Because I'm not going to just say I'm going to move somewhere. What if it was Wyoming? I have no interest to go to Wyoming
or Honduras.
Yeah, I wanted to move to New Hampshire. I'm not even really technically a part of the Free State Project. I just moved here because I was in Massachusetts and New Hampshire's clearly better.
Does that make all three of us among the uncounted?
No, I'm counted. I'm absolutely counted.
You signed?
I signed the pledge in 2007.
Okay.
I think 2007. Yeah, 2007. I got my signer number. I have that written down somewhere. It's in my notes.
Well,
and then when I moved, I told them I moved, and I have my mover number.
So you're official.
I'm official.
And
I moved within the time frame that I agreed to move.
Okay, look at
right?
you.
They hit the number in 2016. Wow. I went,
keeping
gosh
your
darn
word?
it. I got you. As libertarians should.
Wow.
As anarchists should.
I think it's interesting that well over 60% of the hosts of Free Talk Live on Sunday night did not sign.
Okay.
Yeah, so technically I volunteer for the Free State Project. I'm the rep from the Monadnock region for New Movers, but I just didn't sign, and I don't even really consider myself a Free State. I guess I kind of am.
Whatever.
But you are in spirit.
Yes, in spirit.
Yes.
Right.
I mean, I love the Free State Project. I think it's great.
So I'm not knocking the movement itself.
Right.
Just that the stated goal was not reached.
Yeah. And that's fine. If at first you don't succeed, try again.
Sure.
I believe that there are far more liberty-loving people, anarchists, libertarians, voluntarists, whatever you want to call these people, who have the desire to do it. It is difficult to pick up your life and move across the country to someplace you've never been before.
Yeah.
So
from Hawaii, sight unseen.
Yeah. Well, and I did the same from Seattle. Yeah. So now,
I mean, he's got you beat in Hawaii, though.
Well, I'll beat him in Seattle. It's fine. It's not a competition, right? But what I do enjoy is that people are still coming. People are still coming.
Absolutely.
We have these events that happen on the regular, not just here in Keene, but also in cities all around New Hampshire. All the different regions have designated representatives for the new movers, as you've pointed out. So people are still coming. They come to PorcFest and ForkFest. They listen to Free Talk Live, and it's not stopping. The migration is happening. People do have an interest. And the more oppressive the United States government decides it's going to be to its own people, the more it declares its own people the enemy, the more interest there's going to be in doing that, and the more momentum the folks, the liberty-loving people here in New Hampshire and the ones on their way are going to have.
I found my signer number, not my mover number. I'm signer 7840.
Wow. So you were...
How long ago did you move?
I moved here 2018.
When did you sign?
2007.
So a decade till you moved?
Yeah.
Wow.
They hadn't hit the goal.
Right, yeah.
I was not obligated to move.
Well, I remember...
I kept my word.
Those who've been listening to me on this show for quite some time may know that I attempted to move to New Hampshire about 5 years before I actually did move. And what do I mean by that? Well, I threw all my stuff into a trailer and was towing it behind my four-wheel drive, and I hit some black ice coming out of the mountains and rolled the whole thing. I almost died, lost all my crap strewn along the shoulder of the highway, et cetera, and so on. But I went back and I kept thinking to myself, I'm like, man, I hope I make it in time before the trigger, right? Because that's what they were talking about. They're like, when we reach 20,000, it's time for the trigger to be pulled and everybody will move then. And I was like, oh, I better get out there before the trigger happens so I can get like things set up and help people as they sort of come in. I was expecting like a refugee type thing. You know, people are like just showing up like, yeah, we got a bed for you over here.
Like it's a war zone.
Yeah, or like some kind of, weird hostile situation, But I get here and it's like, yeah, they're,
yeah,
it is what it is. So
felt like, all right, the reinforcements are coming, and then trickle.
I think they're still on their way. It's just difficult for folks to move their entire life. If you do own a small business, though, it's relatively easy to relocate your small business if you have skills, particularly in the trades: welding, carpentry, painting, drywall, all of that kind of stuff, stonework, masonry, all these kinds of things. If you do anything related to homesteading, right? You've raised animals, maybe you are a veterinarian of some sort, that kind of a thing. These things are in demand, particularly for the homesteaders. 603-283-6160 is the number here for Free Talk Live. Coming up, why would an activist ask to lead a satanic prayer at a high school football game? We'll find out. This is Free Talk Live.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless free market non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
Tired of cancel culture? Sick of mega tech corporations holding an axe over your head? Join the LRN.FM Matrix chat server. It's self-hosted, so no one else can tell us what to do or say. Don't like the existing channels? You can make your own. You can even connect into some of our channels from other Matrix servers. It's federated. For the full LRN.FM Matrix experience, though, you should join our server via the step-by-step instructions at chat.lrn.fm. Chat.lrn.fm.
I'm crazy about My Magic Mud. This is the most important oral care product created this millennium, and I'm not kidding. We all have different opinions on politics and issues, but we all have mouths. And I want yours to be as clean as possible, with teeth as bright as they were meant to be. I will never be without My Magic Mud. It's a little surprising, but man, does it work. If you only listen to one thing I say ever, go to mymagicmud.com and get 20% off with code FTL. mymagicmud.com, code FTL.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Feature Story News in Washington, I'm Jagruti Dave. Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov has begun a tour of Africa to boost cooperation with the continent amid global food shortages sparked by the war in Ukraine and Western sanctions. Isaac Lucando reports.
Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov is in Cairo for talks with Egyptian officials as his country seeks to break diplomatic isolation and sanctions by the West over its invasion of Ukraine. According to the Russian Foreign Ministry, Lavrov's 4-day African tour will see him also visit Ethiopia, Uganda and the Democratic Republic of Congo. African countries are among the most affected by the ripples of the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Prices of vital commodities have skyrocketed, and billions of dollars in aid have been directed to help those who fled the war in Europe. That has left millions of people in conflict areas in Africa and the Middle East suffering from the worsening growing shortages in food and other assistance. However, Russia, through its foreign ministry, rejects the West's accusations that it is responsible for the global food crisis.
Meanwhile, Ukraine's president says his country's military is making inroads in Kherson, the southern region currently under Russian control. Sergio Olmos reports from Kyiv.
It's a major city, and it was taken very quickly by the Russian armed forces. What Ukraine is trying to do is trying to counterattack and take back Kherson. They have now fired on a bridge in Kherson that's vital for the Russian forces for their logistics. They've been using these HIMARS weapons, the medium-range rockets that the U.S. and Britain sent. That's really been forcing the Russian armed forces to rethink their strategy and push back their logistics from the front line. What we're seeing is that Ukraine is also, tied up in the Donbass, and it is taking shelling daily in Kharkiv, so it's not an easy task.
Police in Sri Lanka say the presidential office is opening back up again today after Friday's violent crackdown against demonstrators camped outside the building. Anti-government protesters vowed to continue taking to the streets and are calling for the resignation of President Ranil Wickremesinghe, even though he was only sworn in on Thursday. In a statement on Sunday, the new president said non-violent protests could go ahead. Rebecca Bundan reports from Colombo on why some people are unhappy with their new president.
We have to remember that Ranil Wickremesinghe, who was the Prime Minister of Sri Lanka, wasn't voted into power as president by the people. This was a vote that took place in Parliament. After the previous president, Gotabaya Rajapaksa, fled the country this month, with people blaming him for the severe economic mess the country is in. Many people consider Ranil Wickremesinghe to be a Rajapaksa ally. Some people say they want to give the new administration a chance, though, to address the economic challenges. What's led to further upset among the protesters, though, is that some of them were forcibly removed from their camp near the presidential office in the early hours of Friday morning by armed troops and police. Some protesters were arrested and some say that they were injured.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks, looking in more depth today at the Pope's tour of Canada. It's the first papal visit to the country for 2 decades, but it's tinged with anguish. The Vatican describes it as a pilgrimage of penance, an effort by the pontiff to heal wrongs done to the indigenous people of Canada by Catholic priests and nuns in church-run schools between 1831 and 1996. Bob McMahon with the Council on Foreign Relations.
What occurred in Canada was something that happened elsewhere in North America, in parts of the United States as well, with different permutations. In Canada, it was actually a federal effort of formally culturally assimilating Indigenous people and using a partner, in this case, the Catholic Church in many instances, and to assimilate, convert Indigenous children to Christianity. Something like 150,000 children were taken from their homes as part of this process over those years. And it was a wrenching experience. It involved not only the division of families, it involved physical and sexual abuse and really devastated lives.
Pope Francis in April apologised to survivors and their families, conceding that the church-run residential schools had engaged in deplorable abuse. There is a truth and reconciliation process underway in Canada, and the Pope is expected to unveil concrete steps the Catholic Church will take to contribute to it. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
The main headlines again. Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov has begun a tour of Africa to boost cooperation with the continent amid global food shortages sparked by the war in Ukraine. Ukraine's president says his country's military is making inroads in Kherson, the southern region currently under Russian control. And police in Sri Lanka say the presidential office is opening back up again today after Friday's violent crackdown against demonstrators camped outside the building. And that is the latest from Feature Story News. I'm Jagruti Dave in Washington.
Americans everywhere are enjoying their Sundays after successfully completing Mother's Day in less than 20 minutes this morning. Dads were able to wrap up breakfast in bed by 9:18 a.m., giving them plenty of time to mill about the garage for the rest of the afternoon. While children who spent a minute and a half this morning hugging their mothers are currently out playing street hockey. And after completely fulfilling their Mother's Day obligations with a store-bought card, teens are now free to leave and spend the day with their friends. The moms, who were quickly and efficiently lavished with cards, flowers, flowers, assurances of love, and 7 full minutes of family togetherness praised the competency with which the holiday was carried out.
Oh, it was great. Charles and the kids made me feel completely appreciated, but they ended the holiday before I even got out of bed. Guess I'll go water the plants now.
But before the day-long celebration concluded early this morning, moms had their own job to do, making a brief, obligatory phone call to their own mothers.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
And we're back.
You looked uncertain.
I was waiting for which direction you were going to point.
Yeah, sometimes your hand, your fingers are
Yeah,
going
it's like,
all over the place.
where's he going to say?
That's cool that I've got you guys sort of trained up. I miss this crew.
We do have fun.
It is Free Talk Live. The telephone number here, 603-283-6160. If you want to join us in the studio, it's myself, the captain.
It's Nikki.
And Richie Rich.
And we've been talking about, all sorts of fun things, but we're kicking off hour number 2 here. So we're going to shift gears. But before we do that, let's go to Robert in South Carolina. Robert, you're on Free Talk Live.
Yes, when I was in the early 1970s, I guess it was 1974 or so, I knew an aspiring young actor by the name of Larry Punch, who grew up in Dedham, Massachusetts, and moved actually to Nashville, New Hampshire. He was a very free-spirited young fellow, and he moved there, and I didn't realize that New Hampshire was different, although I did see it on the license plate, Live Free or Die. That's probably been there for many decades, actually, on their license plates.
As soon as the state got involved with license plating.
Excuse me?
As soon as the state got involved with license plating.
Yes, I see. That's really an amazing long time. So I was, but I didn't make the connection that you fellas are making right now with regard to this level of freedom. But in any case, Larry.
How long have you been listening to this show?
I've been listening to it for a couple of years, I guess. Maybe, I don't know, however long it's been on, I guess.
We've been pitching this level of freedom for quite some time, sir.
I see. That's pretty amazing, because he told me that one day a policeman showed up at his door, and it was actually to get a parking ticket paid that he had forgotten to pay. And I was pretty surprised about that, because I grew up in Greenwood Lake, New York, about 50 miles northwest of New York City, and I'd never ever heard of anything like that.
Well, so check this out, Robert. This is from Wikipedia. Live Free or Die is the official motto of the U.S. state of New Hampshire, adopted by the state in 1945. It is possibly the best known of all state mottos, partly because it conveys an assertive independence historically found in American political philosophy, and partly because of its contrast to the milder sentiments found in other states.
And it's only a partial quote as well.
It is, yes. That's what I was getting to, is the full quote. The phrase was adopted from a toast written by General John Stark, New Hampshire's most famous soldier of the American Revolutionary War, on July 31st, 1809. So that's where its origins come from. Poor health forced Stark to decline an invitation to an anniversary reunion of the Battle of Bennington. Instead, he sent his toast by letter. And here's the full quote. Live free or die, period. Death is not the worst of evils.
Yep.
That's the full quote.
That is quite a state motto.
Yes, it is. It's pretty amazing, actually. But you know something? The people in the rest of the country, maybe unless you live maybe in New Hampshire or maybe in the immediate area of New Hampshire, the vast majority of Americans don't notice that New Hampshire's significantly different than most other states. If it is significantly different, we have no way of really knowing that. And maybe you could let us know about some other differences other than parking tickets.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for the call, Robert. We'll be sure to let you know about those things. We try and do that all of the time. Not all of the time, but frequently.
We can point him to the direction of the 101 Reasons to Move.
101reasonstomove.com, I believe, is the name of the website. 101reasonsfilm.com is the website. 101reasonsfilm.com would be 101 reasons to move to New Hampshire, and contained within them, many of them are ways that New Hampshire is different. Off the top of my head, no sales tax. There's no state income tax. In fact, I think the only tax that exists here is property tax.
Prepared foods.
Oh, yeah, prepared foods.
Those are the two big ones for me.
Yeah.
Because prepared foods is a little ridiculous.
There is no helmet law here for motorcycle enthusiasts.
Or a seatbelt law.
Or a seatbelt law. So, and I am totally on board with both of those things.
No insurance requirement on
there's
vehicles,
you aren't forced by the state to have insurance on your vehicle. It's a good idea to have it, of course. The same with seatbelts, the same with maybe a helmet. But if you want to take the risk, you are free to do so, and you should be, damn it. And
yes.
You are free to do so here.
A big difference for me is the fact that you can actually get in touch with representatives, state senators, and I actually know some of the people that are running for office and that are already in office. There was a midwifery bill recently, and I wanted to get in touch with some of the state reps that were backing it, and I could literally call them and talk to them. You can't do that in Massachusetts. They will not pick up the phone.
It is not that difficult to get an email address or a cell phone number of your local representation here in New Hampshire, whereas in other states, you're going to be talking to gatekeepers and answering machines and voicemails, and you're going to be lucky if you get a reply.
I mean, the bureaucrats in other states, I can't even believe that they're real people. They're almost like celebrities. Like, you can't actually get in touch with these people.
Yeah, there's people I know in the Seattle area who, if they bumped into like the mayor of Seattle at like a ball game or something, they'd take a selfie and be like, oh my gosh, like, look at me. And like, they didn't say anything. They just got a selfie and left. And they're like, oh my God. And they feel like they met a celebrity. And like, no, you met a tyrant.
Yeah.
Stop celebrating your own oppression.
So aside from the 101 reasons, like from moving here, it's obviously not perfect. Right.
Of course not.
Part of the reason the Free State Project exists is to improve upon the already, mostly free situation.
Yes.
Right. However, it's hard to describe because it's just different here. Right. Like, that's the only thing you can say. For some reason, and I don't know if it's because of the state motto, right? You've got Vermont, Massachusetts, Maine's kind of okay. But for some reason, like in between all of that, it's just different here. It feels different.
Yeah, it does. And the best way that I can explain it is, I mean, the contrast for me, pretty stark, right? I went from a large major metropolitan area filled with millions of people to a state which is just over 1 million people, 1.3 or something like that.
Something like that.
For the whole state. So things are farther apart.
Yeah.
And one thing that I enjoy is that when I moved here, I was cured of road rage. In the big city, I mean, I never got out and like beat anybody or anything like that, but I would get upset at other drivers.
Blood pressure rises
on the regular. People who would carpool with me, be like, "Dude, are you okay? Dude, should we pull over for? Do you want to settle down?" And be like, "No, just turn off the Slayer," right? Because like.
That's your problem right there.
You're getting old when like traffic is so horrible that you have to turn down the Slayer, right?
You gotta listen to some meditation music.
So that was like a significant change for me. How am I more free? Oh, let me count the ways. First of all, I'm not going to get arrested for open carrying, much less concealed carrying here, whereas in Seattle I would. Now, Washington State is pretty good about the open carry stuff. It's the concealed carry where folks get into trouble.
And there's a lot of states that are moving in that direction. It's it's ironically one of the few areas that, despite the crackdowns and political talk about like, we're taking the guns, right? A lot of state level action is making gun ownership better.
Yeah.
There's a lot more constitutional carry states than there used to be.
There's a lot of people who, post-COVID, have figured out that, hey, my job doesn't have to be anchored to a geographic location. Now, I figured that out long before COVID kicked in, and that was one of the things that allowed me to move here, was that I obtained a job, and they allowed me to go remote full-time, and I said, okay, see ya, and here I am. But since COVID, the government's response to that and its oppression has made people sort of more aware of migrating by keeping their same rate of pay. Consider New Hampshire if you're a liberty-loving person, because it is less expensive here to purchase a house, to pay your bills and all that, than it is in a large metropolitan area. So if you're in Boston, if you're in Chicago, if you're in Texas, Houston, any of the big cities, and you move to a state like New Hampshire, you are going to give yourself a raise just by moving. So factor that into your plans if you want to help us get more liberty in our lifetime.
Yep.
So, anything else you guys noticed?
I mean, probably, but I think we touched upon a lot of them.
Staying on the guns thing, right? You can have a gun range in your own backyard on your own property.
Yeah,
that's a beautiful thing.
I aspire to have enough property where I can have a nice gun range in my backyard.
5 acres is more than enough, and that's available in a lot of places.
Frequently. 603-283-6160. Live free or die. More Free Talk Live is coming up.
Do you feel like your nation, state, or community no longer holds your values? Have you dreamt of a place where people agree that liberty is important and are free to pursue their projects so long as they respect the property of others? There are many people just like you that are discovering freeprivatecities.com. Their social media links are at the upper right of the page at freeprivatecities.com. All skill levels will be needed when the first of the Free Private Cities opens. It's sooner than you think. Stop arguing and build. freeprivatecities.com. There are basically 2 types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
After a devastating war, the alien visitors were driven back, and their willing human collaborators were left behind to face the music. When Emma Jean Anderson's ex-lover springs her from prison, Nathan Foster and his 14-year-old nephew Ben are tasked with bringing the pair to justice. An easy enough job until they discover something is inside Emma Jean, and the fate of the planet hangs in the balance. The Family Business by Mike Coopery from BaneBooks.com.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and our main feed that includes everything. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
We're still not sure why you'd want to watch, but our video feed is streaming nightly for free at cam.freetalklive.com.
And we're back.
Oh, I almost didn't unmute you in time.
I got the point.
You did.
As soon as the point hit me, man, I was like, I'm yelling it.
This is Free Talk Live. The telephone number is 603-283-6160. If you'd like to join in the conversation. In the studio tonight, it's myself, the Reverend Captain Kickass, joining me.
It's Nikki.
And Richie Rich.
Do you really want liberty in your lifetime?
Yes.
Yes.
Me too. Later this year, Mark Edge of Free Talk Live is speaking at Free Cities Foundation's annual conference, Liberty in Our Lifetime. It's being held in the beautiful city of Prague, October 21st through the 23rd, and showcases autonomous cities and intentional communities that are springing up all around the world. They're offering opportunities for settlers to live freer lives. The conference theme is Parallel Structures for Progress, and will explore physical developments and parallel structures emerging in education and finance that offer alternatives for people looking for better ways to learn, educate their children, and invest in their future. Free Private Cities is offering all Free Talk Live listeners a special 20% discount on tickets, which can be claimed when checking out on Eventbrite with the promo code FTL20. To find out more about the conference, visit lifetimeliberty.com and follow the conference on Twitter via the handle @LibertyIOL. Make sure to get your tickets soon and take advantage of the early bird discount. If you'd like to buy your ticket in Bitcoin, you can drop them a Twitter direct message for instructions. Again, lifetimeliberty.com. Use the code FTL20. It's being held in Prague, October 21st through the 23rd.
Mark Edge poaching free staters.
Hey, I'm not going to, bemoan anybody their own individual pursuit of freedom.
Fair enough.
Mark included.
Okay.
So
I'm still going to make fun of him by calling him a poacher, though.
You do that. So we've been talking about
the Free State Project's newest motto. Free State Project. No poaching.
No poach or die.
Poach free or die.
Wait, what's the rest of the quote? Oh, poaching is not the worst of evils.
There you go.
But we're going to move on. I had talked about...
Where's Bad Slave to back me up on that? No poaching.
You're trying to summon?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Rile him up a little bit.
This is from a site I've never heard of called patch.com, P-A-T-C-H, patch.com. Activist asks to lead satanic prayer at Florida high school football game.
If the Christians can do it, so can the Satanists.
Subheading, after the Supreme Court sided with a high school football coach who prayed on the field, activist wants to lead satanic prayer at a Florida game.
I'm for it.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, I've heard of that a lot too, not the satanic thing, but there's a lot of sports teams will do like a group prayer, especially down south before the game.
Here's my point on it, though. If this is a public school and it is funded and run by the state, then there should be no prayers allowed at all, period.
Okay.
Separation of church and state.
I hear you, and I might have a different take on the separation of church and state. Okay. Because I'm pretty sure it just says, like, we'll establish no religion, right? And it's not that the Christian football coach is trying to turn the school Christian or establish his own religion. He's just exercising his religion.
Yeah, I mean, you do have a point. Like, I wouldn't want to restrict somebody from participating in some religious ritual that they had to do, like, on the daily.
Like, if you're a public school student and you, like, say grace before lunch, right? Who cares?
Yeah, well, or if you got to face east at some point during the day,
should be allowed.
I wouldn't want to restrict that. However, the prayer thing should not be done as a class. It should not be done as a team. It should not be done. It should only be done as individuals.
Understood. And if he goes like, I'm going to lead a prayer, right? The only thing that they can hold over him is like, oh, he's in a position of authority and he's compelling non-prayers people to participate, else face some backlash. And there's no evidence of that. He's just, I'm going to lead a prayer, participate or don't, right?
Well, I was going to say that I pray and I don't have a religion. So for me, praying isn't necessarily a religious thing. It's just like, let's put this intention into the moment and let's go have a good game or whatever is going on.
I like it. So this from South Florida. After the U.S. Supreme Court backed a high school football coach's right to pray at the 50-yard line, I'm assuming this is during a game, I'm not sure. A South Florida artist and political activist has reached out to a Broward County high school asking to lead a satanic invocation at one of its football games. Chaz Stevens, I just hate the name Chaz, it's just such a douchey name. Chaz Stevens, an atheist who founded the Mount Jab Church of Mars activist group, reached out to Broward County schools asking to lead a satanic prayer at a football game at Deerfield Beach High School, which he attended. I wanted to give a prayer at the 50-yard line at my alma mater, he told Patch. I assume they're going to tell me to kiss off. This all started when the U.S. Supreme Court, a.k.a. the American Taliban, sided in favor of a high school coach in Bremerton, Washington. And now he is allowed to give his prayer after the game.
Right, but he's also the coach. Like, he's affiliated with the school and the school's football team. And the Satanist, despite his best efforts, right, would at this point just be a fan.
Well, and so is the Satanist, Chaz, whatever his name is,
Yep.
does he go to the school? Is he
Alma mater, graduate.
Oh, okay.
He graduated, has no current affiliation aside from being a graduate.
I mean, I would like it more if it was a student that was
Sure.
like, listen, I'm a Satanist. This is my legit religion. I have the same rights as everybody else. It's just kind of weird that somebody that doesn't even go to the school anymore. I get the sentiment of it. I
Right.
totally get the point.
And let's talk for a
And
minute.
a student, if they were a student, right, would not just have a random prayer at the 50-yard line because he's not on the team.
But let's take a minute and talk about why the Supreme Court here is wrong in allowing the coach at this Washington school to have a prayer at the end of the game at the 50-yard line. Well, so, I mean, that should not be allowed, in my opinion.
Okay.
Because the coach is in a position of authority, and even if the intent isn't to sort of coerce people into his religion, he's still doing so. He's leading a prayer of his religion and not, he's not respecting the religions multiple religions that exist. Again,
Well, he's not
there's thousands
disrespecting
of
them, right?
Well,
that we know of, but it's not. It is incorrect for a coach to have all of the players on a team, kneel for a prayer at the 50-yard line at the end of the game.
So to me, it depends what the prayer is. Because like I said, I pray and I'm not religious. So if they're like quoting Bible verses, then that would be inappropriate. But if it's just like a generic prayer and they're not mentioning God or religion or anything, I wouldn't have a problem with it.
Let me just read this next line. At the end of June, the Supreme Court ruled 6-3 in favor of Bremerton High School coach Joseph Kennedy. The conservative majority on the court argued the prayers came once the football games had ended, when Kennedy was no longer responsible for students, according to the Associated
There you
Press.
go. So I've grown up in a religious family. I would now self-describe as an atheist. When I go to family gatherings and they all hold hands and bow their head and pray, I just hold hands and bow my head and think about other things, right? Like they cannot indoctrinate me back into that.
You bow your head and like criticize everybody's shoes.
Sure, yeah, whatever. I don't care, right? But they're not trying to bring me in. They're not trying to establish religion over me, and they have no power over me.
You're like, wow, do they still make Velcro loafers? I thought those went out in like '87.
This is Hawaii, so it's more like rubber slippers. But
thongs. And
Yeah,
not
sure, that's what the rest of
not the
people
good
call
ones. Flip flops.
Yeah.
603-283-6160.
Missed it.
Excuse me, is this where I get a license to start a new business?
I wouldn't be hasty. You have to get a license to go out of business, too, you know.
Oh, well, look, I've invented this little anti-gravity machine, see?
Oh, is that why you're walking 2 inches above the floor?
Oh, yes, it's very comfortable. It saves on shoe leather.
Yeah, well, you have to fill out these forms and report to the Human Services Department of Manpower Orientation and register with the Fair Employment Practice Commission, the Wage and Hour Division of the Employment Standards Administration, the State Sales and Income Tax Division, the Internal Revenue Service, and the Social Security Administration of the Department of Health, Education, and Welfare, and, of course, OSHA.
OSHA? I thought that was a little town in Wisconsin.
You'll find out. Say, floating around like that could be dangerous. Have you checked with the Consumer Product Safety Commission?
Well, not yet. You
Come
see,
to
it's
think of it, you actually are flying, aren't you? Look, you need to go over to the Federal Aviation Administration and the Transportation...
It's very hard to get anything done these days if you're in business, but free enterprise built this country. Think what could happen if we don't keep it free. A public service of this station and the Center for the Defense of Free Enterprise, Bellevue, Washington.
We just can't have people floating about unregulated, you know.
From Feature Story News in Washington, I'm Jagruti Dave. Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov has begun a tour of Africa to boost cooperation with the continent amid global food shortages sparked by the war in Ukraine and Western sanctions. Isaac Lucando reports.
Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov is in Cairo for talks with Egyptian officials as his country seeks to break diplomatic isolation and sanctions by the West over its invasion of Ukraine. According to the Russian Foreign Ministry, Lavrov's 4-day African tour will see him also visit Ethiopia, Uganda and the Democratic Republic of Congo. African countries are among the most affected by the ripples of the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Prices of vital commodities have skyrocketed and billions of dollars in aid have been directed to help those who fled the war in Europe. That has left millions of people in conflict areas in Africa and the Middle East suffering from the worsening growing shortages in food and other assistance. However, Russia, through its foreign ministry, rejects the West's accusations that it is responsible for the global food crisis. Isaac Lucando, Dar es Salaam.
Meanwhile, Ukraine's president says his country's military is making inroads in Kherson, the southern region currently under Russian control. Sergio Olmos reports from Kyiv.
It's a major city, and it was taken very quickly by the Russian armed forces. What Ukraine is trying to do is trying to counterattack and take back Kherson. They have now fired on a bridge in Kherson that's vital for the Russian forces for their logistics. They've been using these HIMARS weapons, the medium-range rockets that the U.S. and Britain sent. That's really been forcing the Russian armed forces to rethink their strategy and push back their logistics from the front line. What we're seeing is that Ukraine is also, tied up in the Donbass, and it is taking shelling daily in Kharkiv, so it's not an easy task.
Police in Sri Lanka say the presidential office is opening back up again today after Friday's violent crackdown against demonstrators camped outside the building. Anti-government protesters vowed to continue taking to the streets and are calling for the resignation of President Ranil Wickremesinghe, even though he was only sworn in on Thursday. In a statement on Sunday, the new president said non-violent protests could go ahead. Rebecca Bundan reports from Colombo on why some people are unhappy with their new president.
We have to remember that Ranil Wickremesinghe, who was the Prime Minister of Sri Lanka, wasn't voted into power as president by the people. This was a vote that took place in Parliament. After the previous president, Gotabaya Rajapaksa, fled the country this month, with people blaming him for the severe economic mess the country is in. Many people consider Ranil Wickremesinghe to be a Rajapaksa ally. Some people say they want to give the new administration a chance, though, to address the economic challenges. What's led to further upset among the protesters, say, is that some of them were forcibly removed from their camp near the presidential office in the early hours of Friday morning by armed troops and police. Some protesters were arrested and some say that they were injured.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
You can help spread the ideas of liberty with our Patreon for just $5 per month at amps.freetalklive.com.
It is Free Talk Live, FREETALKLIVE.
We need like a little light thing that just spins and randomly points at one of us.
Like spin the bottle?
Yeah, exactly. Who's going to...
But what do we do for the sociable? That's a term I took from another game where it's a dice game. It's a drinking game.
Okay.
Where, you roll the dice and whoever wins gets to give away as many drinks as there are players. So if there's like 6 of you, you can either take them all yourself, which mostly people would not do. You can give all 6 drinks to one player and get them drunk faster. You could split them up, 3 to you, 3 to the other guy, or 2 each, or whatever. Or you can do what's called a sociable, which is everybody just takes 1.
Okay.
So how would we do a sociable?
I don't know. Not spin the bottle. That one would just be a declaration.
Maybe like top of the hour?
Okay.
Something? I don't know.
Or have 4 squares, right, and spin. And then if it lands in the empty square,
right,
that would be
so
the
we've
sociable.
got the 3 and then the
right.
1.
Yeah.
Interesting. I like the way you think. We're engineering things here on Free Talk Live. In the studio, it is myself, the captain.
It's Nikki.
And Richie Rich.
And again, the number is 603-283-6160 if you'd like to join us. We're going to non-segue to the next thing. And this is from notthebee.com. They had to name their website Not the Bee so that they weren't confused with
satire.
The Babylon Bee is the satire website.
Which is barely satire at this point.
Well,
it's predictive.
You could say the same thing about a couple of other satire sites as
sure.
well.
Sometimes I genuinely cannot tell.
I know.
It's getting crazy out here.
I love this timeline.
So this from notthebee.com. A Portland lesbian bar shuts down after 5 days after opening for not being woke enough.
They eat their own. They totally eat their own, and not just because they're lesbians.
Oh, my God.
Carry on.
My wayward son, why don't you get your ass off the couch and get a goddamn job? That's an actual lyric. Guar covered Carry On My Wayward Son by Kansas. And in the middle of it, they kind of break down, and Oderus Urungus, who's the lead singer guy, he says that in the middle of the song.
I bypassed the Guar documentary on the torrent sites, and you said I have to go back and watch it.
Yeah,
so
do go back. It is like, even if you don't know who Guar is,
I'm very familiar with
GWAR. I'm talking to the listeners.
Okay.
Even if the listeners don't know who Guar is, it is the greatest band rock and roll documentary of all time, bar none. I'm not even kidding. It is that freaking good. It is the greatest rock and roll band documentary of all time, bar none.
Because of its accuracy to like the Guar legacy.
Because it is.
Okay.
You have to watch it to know, but when you do, you'll be like, yeah, okay, I can see why he has this opinion.
I remember Guar on like the Jerry Springer show and all those little things, like showing up and
Guar predates
doing their thing.
So many things, and they've been. They are. You'll find out in the documentary, but they're not just a band. They are an art collective. And you'll find out when you watch the documentary, like how it all started and how many people were involved and how many people have sort of rotated through their casts of characters and how much innovation they've done just as a stage show over the course of their, I don't know, they must be going on 30 plus years.
At least.
And
this
they're
is
still
a great
around.
review.
They're still around. They're still touring.
I'm sold.
But when you rotate cast and characters, you can just keep that going on ad infinitum.
Yeah, I'm just saying, watch it. It's great.
I will circle back to it.
Fantastic. Anyway, we're talking about this article from Not the Bee. Portland lesbian bar shuts down 5 days after opening for not being woke enough. And this starts out saying, fact, you'll never be woke enough for the woke mob. Let me show you an example. And then they quote a Twitter. And it's the Libs of TikTok says, a new lesbian bar in Portland shut down less than 1 week after opening its doors. The owners were accused of cultural appropriation and racism, leading to employees demanding ownership of the business.
Oh, you know what I thought it was going to be? I thought they weren't letting trans women in, because I know a lot of lesbians, and kind of for obvious reasons why they might not want to be with a trans woman. Some lesbians are really...
Because they're transphobic? Is that the obvious reason?
No, because they like the other thing.
Okay.
So
they might not want to get pregnant.
Oh, okay.
That was my speculation, but it sounds like it's different wokeness.
They tried to be woke, and then they hired woke people, and the woke people went like, "Yeah, this isn't woke enough for me. We want to seize the means of production, as it were."
The means of reproduction. Anyway, the author starts. Ladies and gents, see, I'm allowed to write that because I don't work for a woke organization. This is how the woke mob works. Ladies and gents.
I got it. Yeah.
It's not enough to be a lesbian bar in Portland, a bar which on opening night saw a line of 200 lesbians wrapped around the block for a chance to get in. No, if you want to be a woke establishment, especially in Portland, you must do much more than simply open your doors to the alphabet community. You must make sure you're inclusive enough for trans folks and BIPOCs.
See?
You must get your art approved by the woke mob just in case there's something wrong with it. Hey, you never know. It may have been painted by a straight white man. And apparently at a packed lesbian bar, you must take proper COVID measures too. Doc Marie's, the Portland lesbian bar we've come to speak about today, forgot to do some of these things, and now they're paying for their mistakes and apologizing to the woke mob.
That's the saddest part. They're apologizing.
I'm so sick of these people. Like, back in the day, if you didn't like an establishment or if you had an issue with it, you just didn't go there.
You left and went somewhere where you were comfortable.
Like, I don't get why. Clearly, there were over 200 people down the block. Clearly, somebody liked this bar.
Not the employees, though. That's the thing.
Well, they can get a different job.
Well, they want ownership of the bar. That's the thing.
I don't get why they think they're entitled to that.
Because they're the employees. They do the work. They get the products of their labor.
But it's not. They don't own the business, though.
Yeah, unless they get it from the lesbian.
Well,
couple.
just wait. There's more. And this looks like they're quoting something else. Maybe Instagram. It says, but the excitement about the new progressive hangout dissipated quickly. Within days, Doc Marie's found itself on the receiving end of accusations of not being inclusive enough for trans people and people of color. Despite mask mandates being lifted in Portland, patrons accused the bar of not implementing enough COVID safety measures. Patrons also claimed that Doc Marie's had culturally appropriative art on the walls. Employees of Doc Marie's created an Instagram page to echo these concerns. So the employees who were hired to do the job
Oh
were
my
like,
gosh.
They claimed that the owners weren't proactive enough in creating a safe space and accused the owners of racism. The employees also demanded that the bar host free opportunities for education for the community.
What?
One post from the employee Instagram page reads, in part, "We felt misled about the space being safe and welcoming. Our vision is a queer worker-owned cooperative that is ran democratically, provides mutual aid, and hosts free opportunities for education to our community."
They immediately felt entitled to ownership shares, even though they put nothing in except for like 5 days worth of labor.
These people are cancerous.
The employees even demanded the owners relinquish their ownership and hand the business over to the workers. They gave them 24 hours.
I think
What is wrong with people?
keep
It's
going
just-
because I think the owners were considering that.
So brave, the author laments.
Oh, yeah.
Well, needless to say, after 5 days, Doc Marie's was forced to close the doors and re-examine what it means to be a woke organization.
Stop trying to be a woke organization.
Spoiler alert, they're still closed and likely will remain so.
Like the meme is go woke, go broke, and this is another smaller example of that.
It is Portland.
Here's Doc Marie's message to Portland's most woke. We hear you, and we're taking steps to ensure that we can carry out our mission of being a proud, safe, and inclusive space for our community. We will be posting updates on our action plan shortly, as well as a timeline for reopening. Thank you.
Don't hire Marxists.
Yeah, step one.
Such a silly world the woke live in. Maybe someday they'll realize how dumb they've been. Until then, they'll just continue to eat each other up. No pun intended.
Pun was intended when I said it.
Perhaps I'm not the author, so perhaps there was a pun intended there. But I don't understand how you agree to work for somebody and then, within 5 days, I demand ownership of this thing.
I put my labor in. I mixed it with the tools that you provided me. It's mine now.
Yeah.
That's how they think.
Yeah.
That's literally how they think. That's why you can't hire those people.
603-283-6160. If you were the owner of Doc Marie's, what would you do? Give us a call. This is Free Talk Live.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this, right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, connect with others via the forum at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. What if you want to hear the latest episode of Free Talk Live, but all you have is your phone, you forgot to download our archive, and you have no data connection? You can call our Listen line at 641-793-0191. That's a long-distance number, so you may incur charges. If not, listen as long as you want. 641-793-0191. The Free Talk Live Listen line, 641-793-0191.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. Tired of cancel culture? Sick of mega tech corporations holding an axe over your head? Join the LRN.FM Matrix chat server. It's self-hosted, so no one else can tell us what to do or say. Don't like the existing channels? You can make your own. You can even connect into some of our channels from other Matrix servers. It's federated. For the full LRN.FM Matrix experience, though, you should join our server via the step-by-step instructions at chat.lrn.fm. Chat.lrn.fm.
Are you tired of your taxes funding endless occupations around the world? Antiwar.com is run by people who understand that wars abroad become wars at home, wars on our freedoms. Antiwar.com is dedicated to bringing you the latest in news, views, interviews, and reviews from the top movers and shakers in the anti-occupation movement. Antiwar.com has it all, from thorough foreign policy analysis to interviews with whistleblowers who used to run the military-industrial complex. Anti-war, pro-free market. That's antiwar.com.
Yep, we still do email. Drop your email address in the entry box at freetalklive.com, and you'll be kept in the loop with Free Talk Live.
And we're back. All right,
We have way too much fun doing that.
I think everybody knows we're back now. I
think so.
I hope so. If only there was a way in which we could let people know every time we were back.
Every time.
On this Sunday night edition of Free Talk Live. If only we could come up with a method that would consistently be said time and time again on Sunday nights whenever we were back.
A signature catchphrase, if you will.
If you will.
A motto, if you will.
A T-shirt slogan, perhaps a bumper sticker.
Stolen from a Saturday Night Live sketch.
Live from New Hampshire, it's Sunday night.
There you go.
603-283-6160 is the phone number here. We'll get to your calls and thoughts momentarily. This is Free Talk Live. In the studio, it's myself, the captain.
It's Nikki.
And Rich.
We have calls, so we're going to go to them. Let's first go to Oliver calling from Virginia. Oliver, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, buddy, man, I just want to let y'all know it just turns me on listening to you. Every now and then you're all the way this way, and the other time you're all the way the other way. But I want to tell you something. You was talking about them words that you can't say on the radio.
Yeah.
Please don't say them.
Yeah, don't say any of them, please. Otherwise, we'll have to.
I'm gonna spell them, and I'm gonna leave out a letter.
Just say the first letter of each one. Let's leave it at that.
S-H blank T.
Yep. I've got S, P, F, C,
S-H
M
blank
and T.
Okay.
All right.
S-H blank T. Do you know where that came from?
Well, I know where it's going.
Well, I'm going to tell you what it did. They used to haul, back in the old days, manure was a very high product,
Yes, it still is.
Haul it down the rivers and everything else for fertilizer.
Yep.
And the man would go, and they had it in the bottom of the boat, and the man would go down there in the bottom of the boat with his lantern, the kerosene lantern. Damn, the boat would blow up. And they started saying, so high in transit.
Oh, because the methane gas rises and the kerosene lamp would cause the spark and ignite the gas. Wow.
So it's an acronym?
Interesting. I always thought it stood
so
for...
high in transit, and that's where the word S.
Yeah, we got it. All right. Thanks for the call, Oliver. We appreciate you. I read a thing. It was meant to be funny, but it was superior high intensity training.
Okay.
And if you were like the lead guy presenting this particular training to your employees, you were the BIG, superior high intensity training operative, right?
Okay.
You can figure that out for yourself. At any rate, let's continue on. Let's go to Jerome calling from South Carolina. Jerome, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, I got a gay experience I can tell you about.
A what experience?
A gay experience.
Okay, go ahead.
Like happy or homosexual?
Why not both?
I mean, it could be. It's Jerome.
Okay. Anyway, it was like years ago when I was in the Air Force, like back in the 70s, I think. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Oh, when you couldn't talk about it.
I would have expected Navy, but go on.
I was in the Air Force. Anyway, I met this young lady. She was in the Air Force, too. She was very beautiful. You know, she was from Philadelphia, and her name was Joanne. So I said, hey, now why don't you try to ask her out? So I asked her out, and she said, sure, I'll go out with you. But every time I went to pick her up, she would never be in the building she was living in because we were both living on the base, you know. And so after like maybe twice of trying to take her out, a friend of mine pulled me aside. He said, hey, you know why she won't go out with you, man? I said, no, why? Because she's gay, man. That's why.
Jerome, thanks for the call.
Sometimes it's like that.
There's a movie out there called Chasing Amy. It's a Kevin Smith production. It's got, what's his name, Tool in it. Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
He's in it. Anyway, this guy is obviously interested in this girl. She's a friend of some friends, and they go to like see a band perform, and he's like, all right, man, I'm going to go make my move. And he's like, wait, there's something you should know about her. What, does she have a boyfriend or is she married or something? Like, no. And he's like, then what's to know? And he just struts away. And it turns out that she's gay.
Yeah.
I asked out a gay chick once. Did not know at the time. Was told to me like, no.
How did that go?
Obviously poorly.
You got the rejection?
Of course. Yeah.
I usually do better with gay chicks when I ask them out.
Me too.
I could. I can see why you would, Nikki. But I was like, man, I missed all the signals. Like completely. Did not see that coming at all.
Let's keep the fun rolling. Let's go to Major Payne in Michigan. Major, you're on Free Talk Live.
Oh, you guys are tickling my elmo.
Oh, my goodness.
I was in a bar one time with this broad down in Ohio, and this dyke hit on me. We were out on the dance floor, and I was clueless like you know, some of your callers. I didn't know she was gay, but the chick I was with was mighty impressed that I pulled her out of the woodwork.
Is that the end of the story?
Okay, thanks for the call, Major. I appreciate you. 603-283-6160 if you want to join in the fun. We were talking about this Portland lesbian bar that got shut down, or actually decided to shut down 5 days after opening because their employees demanded to be owners of it.
A worker-owned cooperative.
Yes.
You bought all the equipment. Now it's time for us to take over.
Yeah, you bought all the equipment. You did all the work. You filled all the paperwork. You paid for all the insurance. You paid for our salaries. You know, all the marketing, the budget, the opening, right? All the press that goes along with that, you know, if there was any. And so now, of course, you should totally just turn the whole thing over to people who had no hand in helping you whatsoever.
This might be like too Rothbardian, right? But how great it is to be a worker and get a paycheck before the product is even sold, marketed, or anything. Like, you're guaranteed income just for doing that part of it, having no bearing on like the profitability of the product or service that you're offering, and you get paid, whereas the owner takes all of that risk.
Yeah. And I maintain that this particular type of sentiment, this workers who feel like they're being kept down by the rich business owners. I got to tell you, most businesses aren't rich.
Okay.
Yeah,
most
especially not
owners,
bars and restaurants.
Yeah, most business owners not rich, right? But they're making a go of it, and they're paying you for your role in their particular enterprise. Now, I believe that this this type of attitude, this anger, is misplaced, and it should be instead of placed at the hands of the people who are trying to allow them to make some money and get by and pay for the things they need to live and be a regular person in this world. They should instead turn that attitude towards the institution that is responsible for your money being worth less and less and less every day of your life for as longer than I've been alive anyway.
Right.
And that institution, of course, is known as the federal government.
So I hear what you're saying, and I want to also acknowledge their concern that within, a capitalist structure of some kind, it is the business owner's prerogative,
yes,
right? Like to minimize costs and maximize output.
Yep.
Right. And your labor is the output and your paycheck is the cost.
Right.
So their goal is to pay you as little as possible and to get you to do the most work as possible.
Yes.
And your goal is to do as little work as possible and get paid as much as possible.
Not always. I mean, if you want good employees to stay, you're going to pay them a little bit more.
That's part of it, right? So there's a balance in there that goes, well, if I pay them too little, I'm going to have high turnover.
Right.
I'm not going to get the quality work, and my product's going to suffer.
Right.
And that right there is why business owners will pay higher than minimum wage,
yes,
or pay people what they're worth for better service or better labor, and a medium is reached.
Well, and this is I see it underutilized, at least in the businesses that I've partaken in, whether as an employee or as part of a business myself, or even as a consumer at some businesses. There's something called a 90-day probationary period, or even a 30-day probationary period, and that is most people, when they go and they get a job and they agree to it, well, that's the end of it. You've agreed to it. If you didn't like the terms, if you didn't get all your answers or your questions answered before you were hired, you shouldn't agree to it. But if you did agree to it, then stick to your agreement. Now, if you want to make more money, if you want to, get promoted or perhaps run a business of your own one day, then it's up to you to provide the value first before you receive it. And this is a philosophy that is not ANCAP specific. It's not even anarchist specific. It's not even libertarian specific. But that is, if you want to succeed in life, pay it forward first. Be of value first, and then the money will come.
And depending on the market, you may not get paid what you're worth elsewhere.
603-283-6160. Would you demand your employer relinquish his business to you because you're angry?
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
Is oral health important to you? If you don't like your own teeth, fresh breath, or kissing people, then by all means stop listening. Several years ago, I met Jessica Armand, founder and CEO of My Magic Mud, and I became passionate about the product that she created and never want to live without it. It's clinically proven to whiten teeth, but I find it does much more. They want you to love My Magic Mud as much as I do, so they're giving you a money-back guarantee plus 20% off. Go to mymagicmud.com and use coupon code FTL20 at checkout. mymagicmud.com, FTL20.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and our main feed that includes everything. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Feature Story News in Washington, I'm Jagruti Dave. Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov has begun a tour of Africa to boost cooperation with the continent amid global food shortages sparked by the war in Ukraine and Western sanctions. Isaac Lucando reports.
Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov is in Cairo for talks with Egyptian officials as his country seeks to break diplomatic isolation and sanctions by the West over its invasion of Ukraine. According to the Russian Foreign Ministry, Lavrov's 4-day African tour will see him also visit Ethiopia, Uganda and the Democratic Republic of Congo. African countries are among the most affected by the ripples of the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Prices of vital commodities have skyrocketed and billions of dollars in aid have been directed to help those who fled the war in Europe. That has left millions of people in conflict areas in Africa and the Middle East suffering from the worsening growing shortages in food and other assistance. However, Russia, through its foreign ministry, rejects the West's accusations that it is responsible for the global food crisis.
Meanwhile, Ukraine's president says his country's military is making inroads in Kherson, the southern region currently under Russian control. Sergio Olmos reports from Kyiv.
It's a major city, and it was taken very quickly by the Russian armed forces. What Ukraine is trying to do is trying to counterattack and take back Kherson. They have now fired on a bridge in Kherson that's vital for the Russian forces for their logistics. They've been using these HIMARS weapons, the medium-range rockets that the U.S. and Britain sent. That's really been forcing the Russian armed forces to rethink their strategy and push back their logistics from the front line. What we're seeing is that Ukraine is also, tied up in the Donbass, and it is taking shelling daily in Kharkiv, so it's not an easy task.
Police in Sri Lanka say the presidential office is opening back up again today after Friday's violent crackdown against demonstrators camped outside the building. Anti-government protesters vowed to continue taking to the streets and are calling for the resignation of President Ranil Wickremesinghe, even though he was only sworn in on Thursday. In a statement on Sunday, the new president said non-violent protests could go ahead. Rebecca Bundan reports from Colombo on why some people are unhappy with their new president.
We have to remember that Ranil Wickremesinghe, who was the Prime Minister of Sri Lanka, wasn't voted into power as president by the people. This was a vote that took place in Parliament. After the previous president, Gotabaya Rajapaksa, fled the country this month, with people blaming him for the severe economic mess the country is in, many people consider Ranil Wickremesinghe to be a Rajapaksa ally. Some people say they want to give the new administration a chance, though, to address the economic challenges. What's led to further upset among the protesters, though, is that some of them were forcibly removed from their camp near the presidential office in the early hours of Friday morning by armed troops and police. Some protesters were arrested and some say that they were injured.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks, looking in more depth today at the Pope's tour of Canada. It's the first papal visit to the country for 2 decades, but it's tinged with anguish. The Vatican describes it as a pilgrimage of penance, an effort by the pontiff to heal wrongs done to the indigenous people of Canada by Catholic priests and nuns in church-run schools between 1831 and 1996. Bob McMahon with the Council on Foreign Relations.
What occurred in Canada was something that happened elsewhere in North America, in parts of the United States as well, with different permutations. In Canada, it was actually a federal effort of formally culturally assimilating Indigenous people and using a partner, in this case, the Catholic Church in many instances, and to assimilate, convert Indigenous children to Christianity. Something like 150,000 children were taken from their homes as part of this process over those years. And it was a wrenching experience. It involved not only the division of families, it involved physical and sexual abuse and really devastated lives.
Pope Francis in April apologised to survivors and their families, conceding that the church-run residential schools had engaged in deplorable abuse. There is a truth and reconciliation process underway in Canada, and the Pope is expected to unveil concrete steps the Catholic Church will take to contribute to it. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
The main headlines again. Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov has begun a tour of Africa to boost cooperation with the continent amid global food shortages sparked by the war in Ukraine. Ukraine's president says his country's military is making inroads in Kherson, the southern region currently under Russian control. And police in Sri Lanka say the presidential office is opening back up again today after Friday's violent crackdown against demonstrators camped outside the building. And that is the latest from Feature Story News. I'm Jagruti Dave in Washington.
Retail giant CVS is gearing up for floods of customers seeking the perfect meaningless piece of crap for their office gift swap. The company is making no secret that when it comes to wasting the obligatory $20 on a useless electronic dartboard or pretzel maker for someone you couldn't care less about, CVS is your best option.
Our incredible selection of worthless shit is just the thing that nobody wants. We guarantee you'll find nothing personal or unique in our store.
The company is offering massive discounts on otherwise unsellable items for holiday parties you don't even want to go to, like the $12 decorative lantern, which is expected to be a big hit with customers who grab the first thing they see when they walk in the store.
I really wanted to get something that said, I don't care about any of you people and I didn't put any effort into this.
CVS also has Hanukkah gifts for coworkers who you think might be Jewish, like candles and those little plastic net bags full of chocolate money.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
And we're back. That's right. I just took that one.
It's your prerogative.
You are the captain.
Sometimes that name gets me into trouble. Sometimes it gets me into awesome.
Does it ever get you out of trouble?
Not yet.
On the side of the road. Do you know who I am? I'm the captain.
I was discussing the potential of, like, legally changing my name to Captain Kickass. Those of you who've been listening for a long time know that it's not my legal name.
Whatever.
But it is my authentic name. Let's leave it at that. It was given to me by some friends. And anyway, I have no compelling reason to make the change legally. The only possible benefit that I think I might get out of it is some chuckles the next time I get pulled over by a cop, right? Like, excuse me, sir, do you know how fast you're going? Can I see your license and registration, please? And like, here, like, Captain Kickass.
Oh, we got another captain here, boys.
Yeah. Now, one of two things is going to happen, right? They're either going to be, oh, Captain Kickass is getting a ticket today, right? You know, or I can't give Captain Kickass a ticket. Here, go on, have a good day. It's a binary situation at that point. No ambiguity whatsoever. So, yeah, I think I'm just not going to do it because I find it ridiculous to spend money, give money to the state voluntarily. Ugh, who wants to do that? Much less for the privilege of having like their documents changed into my preferred, first and last name.
That's the thing. That's what I've said. If you have to pay the state to change your name, whose name is it?
Yep.
It's theirs.
Exactly. So it is Free Talk Live. The telephone number is 603-283-6160. In the studio, it's myself, the captain.
It's Nikki.
And Richie Rich.
And let's go to your calls and thoughts. Let's go to Phil calling from California. Phil, you're on Free Talk Live.
6431.
Hey, Phil.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I'm picking up dinner.
Okay.
What you having?
Oh, I'm having Chinese food.
Oh, that sounds good.
And then?
It's at the Jing Jing Chinese Cuisine in Rockland, California.
Okay, a little plug there. Okay.
Egg Foo Young?
Oh, that's good.
No, we're getting some just a bunch of stuff, some lo mein. We're good.
And then
no medium main.
Nah, just lo mein. And, a few other things.
You called the radio show, so what was on your mind?
Chinese food, apparently.
I did. I'm sorry, I've been on hold for a minute. Okay, I was just going to talk about it seems like there's L.A. County starting up with the mask mandate.
Yep.
Alameda County. They reinstated, but the thing is, I was in Oakland last week, and it didn't seem like anyone was following it. It's kind of like when they try to instate it in Northern California where no one was following.
That's kind of what happened here.
Oh, all three of us. Okay. Go ahead.
I was just saying that's kind of what happened here. They reinstated the mask mandate in Keene, and nobody listened to it. Well, some people listened to it, but for the most part, most people didn't listen to it, and they did not get hassled for it.
Similar sentiment. I would be curious as to how many people in that county.
Do you think they'll be able to pull it off in LA County?
Pull off the mask? Sure. Just take it off your face.
It's California, so likely.
But no one's doing it now. Well, I mean, only the most loyal of the cult are following it in Alameda County.
That's a good sign, actually.
I don't know if it's anti-cult behavior, though. I think people have just been so worn down by it, right? That it has nothing to do with being anti-state or protest. It's just like, I don't want to do it.
Well, I mean, hopefully that is a good sign. Like, I would have thought that if there was anywhere in the United States that could pull it off, it would be like the greater L.A. region. I don't know if that's where Alameda County is. I don't know my geography there very well.
No, Alameda's Oakland.
Oakland, okay. Also, I wanted to point out that there is a J that nobody pronounces in front of Oakland, so it's properly pronounced Jokeland.
Okay.
That's just a commentary on their legislature.
LA faced with a Jokeland booty?
Oh, hang on, the guy's talking. I'm sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, my bad.
No, you, Phil, go ahead.
There we go. All right, I was going to say San Francisco says they have no plans of going back to the mask mandate and that they don't work, which is funny because San Francisco is probably the highest concentration of cult members in California.
You would think with all the poop on the street, San Franciscans would just wear the mask to get rid of the smell.
Right. So when I was in California a few months ago, I was doing a coastal tour from like LA area up through Big Sur, and I wanted to kind of go a little past San Francisco to hit this really cool beach. And the people I were living with told me that I would not want to go anywhere near San Francisco because most of the private businesses and stuff are still super masky. And they were like, you guys wouldn't last there because you just get kicked out of everywhere. So that's just what local Californians were telling me. I don't know what's actually going on over there.
That's not true at all.
Okay.
I was karaokeing last night at the Mint on Market Street. Everyone's in the Castro partying, and no one's rocking the mask for the most part. I mean, there are, you get people. I mean, but the thing is, like before the mask mandates, like even like years ago, like I mean, a lot of people in the Asian community have always worn masks, so that's not anything new.
Right. I saw that in Seattle too. I lived there for 22 years, and like every now and again, you'd see either a couple Asians or somebody getting off the plane or headed downtown, and they'd have the mask on
out of respect because they were ill and they didn't want to get other people ill.
I never really just questioned it. I was just like, oh well, whatever. It never really bothered me.
Yeah, I mean, like I really feel like there's a difference between people who wear masks because they're sick or cult members. I kind of differentiate between them.
Agreed.
Hard to tell. They wear the same mask.
Hey, thanks for the call, Phil. We appreciate it. Enjoy your food, as they call it in China. Well, when you're in China, you just order food. You
Understood. Anyway, we laughed because we got the joke.
Yeah, good. I'm
retracting my laugh now that you tried to explain it.
All right. Let's continue on, and let's go to Sarah in New Mexico. Sarah, you're on Free Talk Live.
Oh, yes. I'm getting more information about the upcoming Civil War from psychics.
Civil War?
Ooh, psychics.
The Boogaloo.
Wait. Psychics are telling you about the Civil War? What are these psychics saying, Sarah? I'm dying to know.
Okay, one of the things that I've been catching from is that it's going to be the degenerates, the psychos or the riffraff of that's who are going to be sacrificed in the Civil War. Which is good. It's kind of like a
sacrifice to whom? Because I'd be cheering for those people.
Well, first of all, how do we know who the riffraff, the psychos are?
They're the ones who lose because they're
asking Sarah.
I get it, but I'm answering anyway.
Well, they're kind of like I guess the ones that have bad karmas or something that's going to get killed off during the Civil War.
Oh, so the government.
Well, they're the riffraff and the degenerates.
Yeah. Oh, wouldn't it be great if the rapture just took away all of the government?
Well,
that's what I've been praying for.
How would it, though? Because there's a separation of church and state, right? All the government people are going to be left behind.
They're immune
because they're immune from it because they have to separate.
The joke's on them. Government is a religion.
Oh.
Sarah, go on.
So that's one thing. And then another thing is it's going to be the southern states. That's where most of the Civil War is going to happen.
Again?
Those things. Yeah.
Break out the stars and bars. We're going for it again.
Well, I mean, there was a Civil War. That's where it broke out. So it's going to happen again there. That's going to be the state. But those are the two clues But I have never met this psychic. It's a hermaphrodite psychic. So I'm just hearing from the.
Is there an H in the alphabet soup thing?
Sometimes Sarah's calls are less than average, and sometimes they're above average.
LGBTQH.
Well, that's the plus, right?
Oh, okay.
All of these psychics are always scoffed at. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter how. I mean, how can you give a rating or credibility to a psychic? If it came from Evelyn Pagliarini, she prophesied, and many people prophesied about the Civil War.
What you need is you need 9 psychics on a bench, and then if 5 of them agree, then that's what you do. Or more, 5 or more.
We'll see if Sarah's hermaphrodite psychic predictions come true or not. This is Free Talk Live, 603-283-6160. Do you think Civil War is on the way? Give us a call. Let us know.
Boogaloo.
Do you feel like your nation, state, or community no longer holds your values? Have you dreamt of a place where people agree that liberty is important and are free to pursue their projects so long as they respect the property of others? There are many people just like you that are discovering freeprivatecities.com. Their social media links are at the upper right of the page at freeprivatecities.com. All skill levels will be needed when the first of the Free Private Cities opens. It's sooner than you think. Stop arguing and build. freeprivatecities.com. There are basically 2 types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
When a lunar observatory detects a radio broadcast originating from Proxima Centauri, the nations of Earth discover their first contact with an alien race may also be their last. With the Proximans facing an extinction-level disaster, Earth must choose between sending a ship on a multi-year journey or allowing nature to take its course. Saving Proxima, a hard science fiction thriller by Travis S. Taylor and Les Johnson from BaneBooks.com.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
I just heard the best sales pitch I've heard in a long time on an airplane. The flight attendant announced, "If you paid more than $75 for your round-trip ticket, you overpaid." This is brilliant because everybody on the flight paid more, and I was struck by how all the road warriors stopped typing and reading and working and looked up. The announcement invited us to apply for the airline's credit card. And the sign-up bonus? Enough frequent flyer miles for a free round trip. Talk about turning lemons into lemonade. With some banks offering free credit cards, $75 is an outrage for an annual fee, but a bargain for airline tickets. For more tips on communicating more effectively, hit survivalspeech.com, where you can see how I got the CEO of another major airline to shower me with freebies. I'm Holland Cook.
What if you want to hear the latest episode of Free Talk Live, but all you have is your phone, you forgot to download our archive, and you have no data connection? You can call our Listen line at 641-793-0191. That's a long-distance number, so you may incur charges. If not, listen as long as you want. 641-793-0191. The Free Talk Live Listen line, 641-793-0191. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
Got Telegram? You can follow our channel there and discuss show prep with other listeners at telegram.freetalklive.com.
And we're back.
And we're back.
And we're back.
Whoa. The triplets, man. The triumvirate. The trio.
I like having the echo chamber.
The echo chamber.
The echo chamber.
There you are.
You can say that again.
I can. It's an echoing dual repetitive redundancy.
An echoing dual repetitive redundancy?
An echoing dual repetitive redundancy.
You can say that again.
An echoing dual repetitive redundancy?
An echoing dual repetitive redundancy.
I'm not going to try to say that.
All right. Nikki brings our tomfoolery to an end.
Simmer down, everybody. We got a show to do.
Nikki Killjoy.
It's true.
Wow.
That's a far
I'll
cry
just leave.
from Nikki Sunshine. Wow,
I know. I'm just kidding.
Although if we wanted to be true to our tomfoolery, she could just be Nikki.
Nikki.
Nick
First, middle, and last?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Nick.
Yeah, Nick. I think I've done that before.
I'm not going to be Captain Captain.
Okay.
It's just not going to happen.
Cappy Cap?
Oh, God, no. That sounds like somebody made a cartoon of me, like, for children Saturday morning, like, Cappy Cap.
Yeah, put you on a cereal box.
I'm going to do that now.
Put me on a cereal box?
Yeah. Cappy Cap.
Oh, God. I have no words.
Vegan cereal.
Oh, God.
With oat milk.
It's just like dried broccoli. This is Free Talk Live.
You don't say.
The telephone number is 603-283-6160. In the studio, it's myself, Cappy Cap.
It's Nicky Nick.
And Richie Rich.
It's not fair. You didn't have to change it.
I know.
You could be like
my face
Richard
is hurting
Edward,
from like trying not to laugh.
Richard Edward Wealthy or something.
Richard Johnson.
Rich. I have to tell you that Bitcoin.com is the best source for learning about cryptocurrency. You can go there now and click on Get Started at the top of the page. Once you do that, you'll find all sorts of valuable information neatly organized to suit your needs. There's no longer any excuse to ignore this important and world-changing information. If you're already a knowledgeable crypto user, you can check out news.bitcoin.com to get the latest headlines of all the news that's relevant to you. Bitcoin.com is your source for everything crypto, like getting a wallet, mining, trading, and all the latest cryptocurrency news, all in a very slick and easy-to-use website. Please visit bitcoin.com. All right. So we're going to, keeping with our no segue format this evening, we're going to skip over this one. And we're going to skip over that one. And we're going to go to, not that one either. Oh, this one's not loading. Oh, yeah. All right, let's talk about this one. Because didn't we talk about Florida already a little bit? No, maybe
Florida
not.
man.
Florida man.
Has finally met his match? Question mark?
Ooh.
Meet Florida sheriff.
Sounds intimidating.
This is from the AP. And
Incredible news source.
And it says, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. When a naked man in southwestern Florida recently raised a ruckus outside of his house and threatened a deputy with a kitchen knife.
As a Florida man is wont to do.
The SWAT team swooped in and apprehended him. Soon afterward,
SWAT team?
Florida sheriff.
Soon afterward, Lee County Sheriff Carmine Marcheno stood on the man's driveway in combat gear for a news conference while the suspect went to the jailhouse that the sheriff likes to call the Marcheno Motel.
Photo op, you mean?
Wow.
Shows up after the battle's done in his camo gear.
Full on.
Okay.
He's an oxygen stealer and a scumbag, and I'm glad he's out of here, Marcheno told reporters.
He said that on the record?
Florida sheriff.
I'll say it
taking
again.
Taking out Florida man.
He's an oxygen stealer and a scumbag, and I'm glad he's out of here, Marcheno told reporters.
He might not be wrong. Like, we don't know. But you got a naked dude swinging a knife, right? Like, I don't know. Who knows what kind of damage that could do?
Well, He said he raised a ruckus. Didn't say anything.
Okay.
About,
with a knife.
He did threaten a deputy with a kitchen knife. So what?
Okay.
With a kitchen knife?
Like a steak knife or like
a butter knife?
Yeah. I mean, was it a spork? We don't
Depends whose kitchen you're in. You get some pretty good stuff in my kitchen.
He continues, I'm proud to say that in this county, if you present deadly physical force, we meet you with deadly physical force every time,
gosh.
and we win. It's pretty clean and pretty quick.
That guy needs to go to jail.
This is,
That's the sheriff?
I don't mean to break it to you, but this is the attitude of most LEOs in my experience.
They usually don't say it, though, to the press.
Okay.
Normally,
that
they just
might be
keep
true
it to
themselves. Yeah. Within the gang talk. Yeah.
Okay. Again, hold on a moment, because if he weren't the Leo, right, would we not agree that, the threat of deadly force should be met accordingly?
Yeah, unless you're a cop.
Okay. Go on.
I mean,
like if someone came swinging a knife at you and you went,
Yeah.
I'm carrying, pop, threat neutralized.
I mean, yeah, it makes sense, but to kind of brag about it after, like, that's the part that I'm really not down for, is to be like, well, I'm the sheriff, and if you cause a ruckus, I'm gonna kill you, and we're gonna meet you with deadly force, and call in the SWAT team, and
I mean, okay, so if it was crazy naked man brandishing a knife and Richie Rich happened to be the point or the person he was threatening, Richie Rich just happened to be wearing full combat gear.
Yeah.
And took him out, right?
Look,
what would we say?
We just spent a week, glorifying the self-defense shooting of that 22-year-old kid.
Yeah.
Right? Because there was a dude who was like using deadly force, and he was quick, like all hell. Like I couldn't do that.
it was impressive.
It was
Yeah,
impressive.
it was very impressive.
But he's now a saint. Like he's reached that level in the 2A community, like Saint Eli at this point, because he recognized deadly force and met it with deadly force.
There's another T-shirt idea for you.
Okay.
Saint Eli.
Saint Eli. Okay, fine. We'll do that too. But so what I'm saying is, like, that's not necessarily a problem. It's just a problem when that's the first response of law enforcement on what may not actually be deadly force.
Right. Well, and I don't like the whole, in full fatigues and giving it, rah, 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 right? That drill sergeant style of thing, right?
I get it, but if I was planning on deadly force, like, I have body armor somewhere.
Yeah.
Like if we were planning for that, right? We're like, well, this dude's doing the thing. We're like, we got to go stop him. And we weren't in a situation like St. Eli where we're like, oh, we're just in a mall. We got what we got. And we're like, well, we got to go get this guy. Like, you better believe we're throwing on some kit. Yeah. Does that make sense?
It does. The Sunshine State has become internationally notorious for the oddball miscreants who populate its police blotters and local news reports, known collectively as
Florida Man.
There are murders and mayhem like any place else, and then there are the only in Florida incidents, like the man charged with assault with a deadly weapon for throwing an alligator through a Wendy's drive-thru window in Palm Beach County in 2015.
What?
But an equally eccentric cast of hard-boiled sheriffs make a career of going after these guys. Florida man, meet Florida Sheriff.
I'm just like picturing Dog the Bounty Hunter in my head right now.
But like with a badge. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's
not
got
a
like,
real bounty hunter, by the way.
And he's got he's got the faux hawk,
he's got the full on mullet,
the mullet hawk.
Yeah.
Whatever. Well, it's kind of shaved on the side, so it's kind of a it's a I don't know,
it's definitely a mullet.
Mullet mohawk combo. Mullet hawk. Mullet. I don't know. 603-283-6160. If you had a mullet and you shaved two sides of your head, what do you call it? Let us know. This is Free Talk Live. More coming up.
Carl Watner, longtime proponent of a voluntary society, died last December. You may have seen his articles published on his website, voluntarist.com, in his newsletter, The Voluntarist, the Mises Institute, or elsewhere over the last 40 years. His newest book, I Must Speak Out, Volume 2, The Best of the Voluntarist, is now available via Liberty Under Attack Publications. This 430-page second volume spans the years of 2000 through 2020 and includes articles by Carl Watner, Wagner, Hans-Hermann Hoppe, Karl Hess, Benjamin Tucker, George H. Smith, Lysander Spooner, Pete Eyre, Joyce Brand, and many others. I Must Speak Out is for the newly initiated, the veteran voluntarist, or anywhere in between. Buy the book now at libertyunderattack.com/voluntarist. For more great content on building a voluntary society and for Carl's extensive archives, check out voluntarist.com.
From Feature Story News in Washington, I'm Jagruti Dave. Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov has begun a tour of Africa to boost cooperation with the continent amid global food shortages sparked by the war in Ukraine and Western sanctions. Isaac Lucando reports.
Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov is in Cairo for talks with Egyptian officials as his country seeks to break diplomatic isolation and sanctions by the West over its invasion of Ukraine. According to the Russian Foreign Ministry, Lavrov's 4-day African tour will see him also visit Ethiopia, Uganda and the Democratic Republic of Congo. African countries are among the most affected by the ripples of the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Prices of vital commodities have skyrocketed and billions of dollars in aid have been directed to help those who fled the war in Europe. That has left millions of people in conflict areas in Africa and the Middle East suffering from the worsening growing shortages in food and other assistance. However, Russia, through its foreign ministry, rejects the West's accusations that it is responsible for the global food crisis. Isaac Lucando, Dar es Salaam.
Meanwhile, Ukraine's president says his country's military is making inroads in Kherson, the southern region currently under Russian control. Sergio Olmos reports from Kyiv.
It's a major city, and it was taken very quickly by the Russian armed forces. What Ukraine is trying to do is trying to counterattack and take back Kherson. They have now fired on a bridge in Kherson that's vital for the Russian forces for their logistics. They've been using these HIMARS weapons, the medium-range rockets that the U.S. and Britain sent. That's really been forcing the Russian armed forces to rethink their strategy and push back their logistics from the front line. What we're seeing is that Ukraine is also, tied up in the Donbass, and it is taking shelling daily in Kharkiv, so it's not an easy task.
Police in Sri Lanka say the presidential office is opening back up again today after Friday's violent crackdown against demonstrators camped outside the building. Anti-government protesters vowed to continue taking to the streets and are calling for the resignation of President Ranil Wickremesinghe, even though he was only sworn in on Thursday. In a statement on Sunday, the new president said non-violent protests could go ahead. Rebecca Bundan reports from Colombo on why some people are unhappy with their new president.
We have to remember that Ranil Wickremesinghe, who was the Prime Minister of Sri Lanka, wasn't voted into power as president by the people. This was a vote that took place in Parliament. After the previous president, Gotabaya Rajapaksa, fled the country this month, with people blaming him for the severe economic mess the country is in. Many people consider Ranil Wickremesinghe to be a Rajapaksa ally. Some people say they want to give the new administration a chance, though, to address the economic challenges. What's led to further upset among the protesters, though, is that some of them were forcibly removed from their camp near the presidential office in the early hours of Friday morning by armed troops and police. Some protesters were arrested and some say that they were injured.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
Our Matrix server is about as free as internet chat can be. Join the existing rooms or create your own at chat.freetalklive.com.
And we're back.
Yes, we are back. It is Free Talk Live. 603-283-6160 is the telephone number here in the studio if you'd like to join us. Speaking of which, I am your host, the Reverend Captain Kickass. Joining me tonight,
it's Nikki.
And Richie Rich.
We've been talking about Florida Sheriff
versus Florida Man.
That'd be a cage match, right? Florida Man versus Florida Sheriff.
Just throw him in the octagon.
So this sheriff's name is Carmine Marceno, Marceno, M-A-R-C-E-N-O. You pronounce it. I don't care. You looked him up.
I did.
What did you find?
He has a big ego, based on my professional opinion.
Your professional opinion?
Yes.
So
looks like a D-bag.
Yep, confirmed.
I mean, so to be fair, the uniform kind of does that to people.
Yeah.
Right? So, but even so, you found, way too many photos of this guy?
Yeah, he just has, it seems like he likes to get a lot of headshots. Like
no,
he's
no
seeking.
pun intended.
Oh gosh.
Taking down Florida man.
That's all you found? Just pictures?
He has a nice smile. We'll give him that too. I'll balance it out with something nice.
Oh, that's nice of you.
Thank you.
Really putting the sunshine back in your name after Richie's dig on you earlier.
Yeah, exactly. I know I have to redeem myself.
So at any rate,
Nikki Moonlight is what I like to call her now. Moonlight.
This Florida sheriff, Carmine Marcheno, stood on the suspect's driveway in combat gear for a news conference, and
after they'd already hauled him away,
said he's an oxygen stealer, a scumbag, and I'm glad he's out of here. Anyway, all but one of Florida's 67 counties have an elected sheriff, and they wield enormous influence in part because they're often the only countywide elected official. They head agencies that typically patrol unincorporated portions of their county, but also provide backup to city police departments and sometimes patrol small cities that lack their own force. Many, like Marcheno, hold made-for-YouTube news conferences and use TikTok and other social media frequently going just as viral as the perpetrators.
So he's not even the only one.
No, he's not the only one. I worked with these girls at the hospital that used to watch Cop because they had like a uniform fetish or whatever they call it. And they used to watch these videos and they were so cringy and just so disgusting. And they'd be like, oh my God, he's so hot. And I'm like throwing up in my mouth.
They give another example of Santa Rosa County Sheriff Bob Johnson in Florida's Panhandle. During a recent news conference about a burglary, Johnson, elected in 2016, said a homeowner had fired shots but didn't hit the suspect. Johnson encouraged the homeowner to take a gun safety course offered every other Saturday at the sheriff's office so he could better take matters into his own hands. Learn to shoot a lot better, Johnson said. Save the taxpayers money. I like this guy. Citizens should all learn how to shoot and learn how to shoot well.
The sentiment is there.
Yes.
But to go to the local sheriff's office to do it.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the best place to train, though.
If it's free.
Well, free as in taxpayer funded. We're going to have to put a kibosh on that.
Okay.
Okay.
But, if you're poor and you want to, shoot a cop's gun, why wouldn't you?
Fair enough.
On the Atlantic coast near Cape Canaveral, Brevard County Sheriff Wayne Ivey makes game of a crime, literally. His weekly Wheel of Fugitive videos feature the sheriff spinning a wheel with photos of 10 of the county's most wanted. Everybody watches it, even the fugitives watch it, to see who becomes the fugitive of the week, Ivey said. The lucky winner of one recent episode was 32-year-old white male accused of, this says petite theft, I think they mean petty theft. Unless he's robbing short girls or something. Petite theft. And failure to appear. The sheriff, first elected in 2012, looked into the cameras as if speaking directly to the man and urged him to surrender. Stop messing up and stop breaking the law. Get all of it behind you.
We're coming to get you.
This is so weird.
Are these guys all on roids or something? Have they been watching too much WWE?
Yeah.
I can almost, I don't want to guarantee, but there's a good chance they're on some kind of performance enhancer. Right. When part of your job you get paid to work out and part of it's to look intimidating and be bigger than the rest of us, you're taking something.
The Twitter account of Pasco County Sheriff Chris Nocho, I'm not sure how you pronounce that, who has starred in A&E's network's live PD show. I didn't know they had a live PD show. Also, all those Cops, that whole show, that should never have made the airwaves. Anyway, he made a splash with local sad criminal of the day posts. His agency also copyrighted the now viral hashtag 9 p.m. routine, a reminder to lock car doors and homes every night.
Wouldn't you do that before? Normally you'll lock your car as you're exiting it, not okay, it's 9 p.m., let me go lock my house and my car.
Some people need a reminder.
I do remember a show, and I don't know if it was all about the cops, but they used to regularly feature the dumbest criminals and that kind of thing. So there was a guy who went into a convenience store that had a now hiring sign, and he filled out the application and sort of cased the joint while he was there, checking out how many people were working, where the doors were, that kind of stuff. And he comes back later and robs the place. The same person who took his application was still working, having to pull a double or something along those lines.
Yeah.
And so they were like, yeah, here's the application. He used all of his real information on the application.
What an idiot.
See, some people deserve to get caught, man. Maybe it was a cry for help. He wanted to get caught.
Well, he was obviously broke, So we both needed a job and decided to rob someplace. So
and gets
Imagine
3
if he
hots
got
and a
the-
cot.
Imagine if he got the job after that.
We were totally going to hire you, bro, and then you robbed us. You got to wait and then pilfer the register. Get the job first and then steal from the till.
In January, the department
It's not
cut
advice.
off. In January, the department cut off the social media commenters because the accounts fell victim to their success. With over 300,000 Facebook followers, more than double that of much larger Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office in nearby Tampa, NOCO said the people were too often reporting crimes online rather than calling 911.
Nice.
This is the future.
Over in Central Florida,
I wonder how many of them would commit the crimes just to get on, just to get featured.
I'm famous.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You know that would happen. Like, well,
It's
my life
Florida,
sucks.
man.
I might as well
Yeah.
get famous. I'll be on the YouTube.
Just might as well throw this alligator through a Wendy's drive-through.
I mean, that had to have been a spontaneous thing. Although, who's just carrying an alligator around with them wherever they go?
So, ironically enough, one of my Facebook friends posted like a video, and it was possum in the pocket. So they just put a possum,
possum,
right in the pocket of a billiard table.
Yeah.
So the dude reaches in to grab the ball, got like bit by the possum and like pulls in and just flings the possum. Like, oh yeah, it's just possum in the pocket.
I've never done this.
So people do this.
I've never done this, but I've seen it done. I was at a carnival, and one person had upset another person, and the other person was just finishing smoking a cigarette as the person who upset him turns and walks away. So he just sort of starts following the guy a little bit, kind of pace for pace, and the guy in front of him was wearing denim jeans, and so he took the remainder of his cigarette, which there's a couple drags left on it, so it's still lit, still smoldering, and turned it upside down butt first and just sort of gently dropped it into the back pocket of the person in front of him.
Oh.
And then stopped walking and watched, and as soon as the embers start getting down to a place where they're burning through the denim, you watch a guy freak out, and because his ass is on fire.
Good reason to wear snug fitting jeans without loose pockets.
Just saying, I've never done this, but I've seen it done.
Okay.
Over in Central Florida is perhaps the highest profile. Oh, it's important to mention that I saw it done in Florida.
Okay.
That's the tie-in. If
we need the sheriff's department to come after that dude now. Deadly force meets deadly force. That's arson. Attempted burning of the buttocks.
You know, it really burns my ass. A flame about this high. Over in Central Florida is perhaps the highest profile enemy of Florida man and Florida woman. Ooh, that
I didn't know there was a
ominous.
Florida woman.
Florida district attorney.
A Florida woman? Yeah, usually you hear about the Florida man, not
There
the
are Florida
woman. Who is this highest profile enemy of Florida man and Florida woman? We'll find out on Free Talk Live coming up. The telephone number is 603-283-6160 if you'd like to join the conversation.
Free Talk Live.
The amount of young people being brought up on criminal charges, sex offender charges, for taking nude photos of themselves and putting them online. It's just so sad to see these people having their lives just rolled right over the top of by these prosecutors that want to make it look like they're doing something good, but they're not doing anything that's helping anyone. There's no victim in this case. When you hear the term child pornography, what should come to mind, if anything, should be the idea of forcing children into sexual scenes and videotaping or photographing
adults
them.
Forcing children or somebody.
Even if it's a child forcing another child, I think the force is the issue there. If you're talking about a 15-year-old girl voluntarily choosing to take a nude photo of herself to send to her boyfriend or to post online, no one forced her to do that.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. Tired of cancel culture? Sick of mega tech corporations holding an axe over your head? Join the LRN.FM Matrix chat server. It's self-hosted, so no one else can tell us what to do or say. Don't like the existing channels? You can make your own. You can even connect into some of our channels from other Matrix servers. It's federated. For the full LRN.FM Matrix experience, though, you should join our server via the step-by-step instructions at chat.lrn.fm. chat.lrn.fm.
Hey, you are going to love the movie Victimless Crime Spree. It's hilarious, heartwarming, and carries a ton of inspiring freedom messages. Feeling down about the lack of liberty in your life? You need to put on this film with some friends and have a good laugh. It's a true story about me and my friends in New Hampshire living free, singing, dancing, and getting arrested. Of course, it's all on video, and the bad guys, the cops, judges, bailiffs, and sheriffs, they all play their part like it's out of a movie or something. You would think we scripted the whole thing, but it's real life. Go ahead and have a watch, and if it's been a while, have another look. I guarantee you'll notice things now that you didn't notice before. And the best part is that you're going to walk away feeling a renewed sense of your own power. You are the master of your destiny, and you will be free in your lifetime. Victimless Crime Spree.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
Should you be able to earn an honest living free from senseless government interference? The Institute for Justice thinks so. That's why we've spent years defending hard-working men and women from pointless government regulations. Nationwide, IJ has created opportunity by reducing government power, but there is still more work to be done. Visit our website today at ij.org. Let IJ take care of the government so you can take care of your business.
You can stick it to the man and big tech. Join our FTL social mastodon at social.freetalklive.com.
And we're back. The final segment of tonight's edition of Free Talk Live. We're here 7 nights a week from 7 p.m. until 10 p.m. Eastern Time. The phones are always open during those times. If you're hearing this show outside of those times, please know that you can only call between 7 p.m. and 10 p.m. Eastern because that's when we're broadcasting. So in the studio, it's myself, the captain.
It's Nikki.
And Rich.
Let's go to a New Mexico man. David, you're on Free Talk Live.
Speedo Man.
Yeah.
Hey,
continuing to I rock a Speedo, dude. Unlike some people I can see on YouTube.
Well, and that's what we
How
were
many
going to...
dudes are you looking at on YouTube?
In Speedos.
Yeah.
And why?
That's it. Gotta have a IQ of above say 125 to follow my attempts at humor.
But what's up with the Speedo?
I rock a Speedo.
Makes you swim
fast.
fast.
Referenced by Richie Rich just trolled me about a Speedo that I used to wear when I would go swimming in the ocean and elsewhere.
Is it still your Twitter profile pic? Like I found the Twitter, I saw the Speedo, went, is this really David? And then I had to confirm that.
Dude?
What's that?
You're stalking me, dude?
He's not stalking you. He's just calling a lot.
You've told us to like Google your name a bunch of times, and so I Googled it once.
No, I'm just messing with you. I don't care who looks at what.
Yeah.
So why are you looking at guys in Speedos then?
Fall fashion.
I'm not.
Oh.
But he just said he was on YouTube.
I'm pretty sure he said he's seen thousands of guys in Speedos on YouTube.
Thousands. It's a conservative estimate.
David, are you conservative?
Conservative? I don't know. But Joe Monahan is not. Joe Monahan is a Democrat, I believe. Is that right?
Okay,
Joe?
so I have to
Joe
ask.
Monahan?
I have to ask David. So there are certain names, like M. Monica Zamora, John J. Romero, and then what's this new guy that you just mentioned?
This is a guy, the professional writer. He's writing about Judge Tommy Jewell, who is the husband of one of the
Tommy
officers
Jewell is the
in
other
my
one. Okay,
case.
so we're gonna
Judge Angela Jewell is his wife.
David, we're gonna take up a collection and see if we can raise enough money for you to get all of these names of these people in government who have wronged you. See if we can get enough money so you can get them tattooed on your back.
Oh.
So that when you're out on the beach in your Speedo, you can also sort of, give these guys the what for. You know what I'm saying?
Can we put it in like a tweet bubble?
Cool. Take up that collection and send that money. I would think that's a great idea.
All right, cool. Thanks for the call, David. We'll let you know when we have it. 603-283-6160. That's the number here. You might be able to get on. I don't know. Our screener's working overtime today, so it's a toss-up. But we've been talking about this Florida sheriff.
Multiple Florida sheriffs.
Many of them, so much so that they're trying to make it into a trope, just like Florida man. And apparently,
TikToking Florida sheriffs.
And apparently Florida woman as well. Over in Central Florida is perhaps the highest profile enemy of Florida man and Florida woman. Polk County Sheriff Grady Judd.
Grady Judd. That's a name.
That's a Southern name, all right.
Yeah.
Grady Judd, who constantly targets gangs, drug dealers, and prostitution rings in his folksy Southern drawl. Did I nail it? Folksy Southern drawl. Anyway.
Very nice.
He's fine.
We're gonna.
I
go
probably
get
over-celebrated that one.
Crips and the Bloods.
So folksy Southern drawl has been a frequent hit on TV. On TV. Not YouTube, TV apparently.
That's why he's the biggest one.
Since he was first elected with no party affiliation in 2005.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Judd says of school shooters, "We're going to shoot you graveyard dead."
All right, well, that's better than the Uvalde police.
If he comes through.
Yeah.
Yeah, just because it says something doesn't mean he actually
They probably
follows
talked
through.
a whole bunch before they actually got put in the situation, I'm sure.
He also has praised homeowners for firing on intruders, including one last December. He gave him an early Christmas present. Only Santa Claus gets to come in your house, Judd told a news conference. I kind of like this guy. Judd often refers to the Polk County Jail as the Polk Pokey.
Nice. Just call it the Polky.
The Polky, yeah. Just why waste the extra letters?
Yeah.
Just put an L in Pokey and be done with it. And last holiday season, his office sold their version of the popular Elf on the Shelf doll dubbed Sheriff on a Shelf.
Oh, that's so creepy.
And he personally autographed Sheriff Judd bobbleheads.
Oh, nice. This guy sounds like such a narcissist.
I was liking him, and now I'm not liking him anymore.
Just wait. Pretty soon there's going to be the Florida Sheriff NFTs.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to have to collect those.
Oh, God. One of Judd's latest targets was not exactly the crime of the century, but Judd had planned to say about a woman accused of assaulting workers at a McDonald's because her order was wrong. "She's a pretty lady, but she was McMad."
This guy does have jokes.
Judd said on May 20th, "I don't know if she was 2 fries short of a Happy Meal, but she created a McMess and acted like a McNut.
Tried to throw a fruit punch at her.
This is Polk County. We don't put up with that McJunk." Yeah, so that's the end of the article.
So clever guy.
Yeah, he's got mixed style.
Okay,
but he might have a McEgo.
They all do. I mean, that comes with the territory.
Yeah.
It is true that only people of a certain personal disposition are attracted to these types of jobs. Now, I will say, when it comes to sheriff versus police, right, that one is supposed to have authority over the rest of them. In other words, if there's some sort of a thing that the police are in, that a sheriff, in theory, is supposed to be able to come in and shut the police down.
Yeah.
Because he's the only elected official or the only elected person in law enforcement.
Which is why we need libertarian sheriffs around here.
I mean, I guess that's a start, right? Okay. I'd prefer just, no government and private security. And, if you don't have it, figure out how to be your own security.
Transsexual Satanist sheriff around here?
She's got my vote.
We had one run, so, I mean, why not? Why not? Especially, I'm trying to remember her campaign was that she was going to let the deputies just come into the office and play, like, Xbox and that kind of thing, like at the office.
There's one dude running for some office in New Hampshire. I forget his name, and I think it might be Merrimack County or something like that. And he's like, deputize everyone. Like that's his libertarian platform.
Ooh,
cool,
interesting.
Right?
Can you actually? I mean, you could.
He's the sheriff. He's elected. Do what you want.
You could deputize everyone.
That's the plan.
And now everyone's a sheriff. Therefore, or deputy. Yeah. A deputy sheriff, but therefore decentralizing the entire sheriff's department and making police obsolete.
Want to be a deputy? Okay. Huh. Next time I come across his name, I will forward it over.
You got a magic rectangle? Look it up, man.
Give me a moment then.
One moment, please.
Captain's just excited to add another thing to his name.
Okay.
That's deputy captain to you.
All right. You've got me there. Lord, deputy. Wait, let me think about it for
Doctor.
a minute. Lord, Doctor, Reverend, Deputy, Captain, Wait, I think Lord, Doctor, Reverend, Captain, Deputy, Kick-Ass. I think would be
has a nice ring to it.
Appropriate placement there. I'm not sure that would fit on like the nameplate of my desk.
It's just really long, like takes up the entire desk.
Or like my Walgreens employee badge. Right? I'm not sure. Might have to put two of them together and stab myself in the chest.
Hey, whatever you need to do, however you need to make it work.
I wonder if I could hire a skywriter to just put that in the sky. Right? Just one day you look up and you're like, the Lord, Dr. Reverend, Captain, Deputy, Kick-Ass?
I can't find it in the short amount of time that we have.
Well, there you go.
Sorry.
All right, some headlines we didn't get to. Scientists find link between wolf attacks and far-right politics.
We should have gotten to that one.
The reemergence of wolves to Germany has been accompanied by electoral gains for far-right parties, a new study reports.
How is that even connected? Who drew those lines?
The wolf population has increased. It must be the far right.
It always is.
Looking for a scapegoat to blame.
Gonorrhea could be the driver of gene mutations that fight against dementia, improving cognition.
So now we have an excuse when Joe Biden gets it. It's just for his dementia. We're trying to cure the president. We had to give him the gonorrhea.
We had no choice.
No choice.
No choice.
Cancer didn't work. What's the other one? COVID didn't work.
Yeah.
And finally, Eat the Rich. Ice cream truck sells $10 popsicles shaped like Bezos, Musk, and others.
Capitalism targeted at Marxists. Way to make that money.
We are out of time. Thank you, everybody, for listening. If we didn't get to your calls, call us back on another day, 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. Thanks and peace.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you're helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you